Breakfast on 5AA. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
If you're living with a disability, injury or health condition and looking for work, visit maxima.com.au.
6:06, good morning to you. Welcome to Tuesday on 5AA Breakfast, the 12th of September. Day 2 of a perfect week of weather in Adelaide is almost upon us. It's still dark out there. The sun is slowly rising on what will be a magnificent day. Phil Curry will join us from the nation's capital. As we were talking about the virtues of the weather yesterday, it was in the minuses in Canberra. But Phil will take us through what's been a really eventful 24 hours in Canberra, including a breakthrough in the federal government's housing policy, the $10 billion housing policy. We'll talk about that. Also, we've got a jury question this morning that will pit potentially pet lovers against business owners. So I'm excited about that. Lucy's movie review is coming up a little bit later in the morning as well. And we'll get across some of the big stories going on around Adelaide and the world, including an update on the teachers' strike that now no longer will be on this weekend. And another disturbing development in our supermarkets here in South Australia. David Penberthy, good morning to you.
Good morning, listeners. Good morning, Will. Excellent news about the teachers' strike. I was pleased to see that the story broke late yesterday on the Advertiser's website. I think the AEU has come to its senses by pulling back from the brink. It would have done them huge damage reputationally, I think. We were quite cynical about the unions. We can't stress enough the unions' timing of the second strike threat, and the fact that they were so quick to make it while talks were still going on. It's like, well, you have another Friday, another Friday with no work, causing mass disruption, creating a long weekend in the midst of this industrial action for the second time in less than 3 weeks. So good on them for pulling back.
Can I ask you about... I'm sort of tempted to wait until 7:05, but I'm interested in your thoughts on this. I'm going to do it now. Because there's been elements of the teachers' claims and things they want to change that we've been critical of, or at very least explored, like the reduction in face-to-face teaching time, or the huge number of new teachers that would be required to satiate a reduction in time and also allow them to do the paperwork and things that they've made as part of this pay and conditions deal. One of the things, though, that came out, I imagine you would be somewhat sympathetic to, and I think it's going to become a feature of a whole bunch of workplace agreements, be it in the public sector or private as well, the right to disconnect.
Yeah.
What do you think about that? Because I think that feels like the first time I've heard that formulation of words used, but it feels like something that is going to be everywhere. And for people that don't know, this is the idea that when your workday's over, you're not expected to answer emails, you're not expected to pick up the phone. There's a whole bunch of stuff that you can say, well, my workday's done. Just because I'm contactable now doesn't mean I'm constantly on call.
I actually think it's fair enough. And I think that the thing that puts teachers in a unique position... Okay, so you take our jobs, right? Probably once a week, I would have some sort of out-of-hours contact with somebody from 5AA. It might be... And that's not talking about things like client visits where we go and see an advertiser. Like, thinking recently we went out to see the team at FIVEAA House. That's part of our job. The expectation is that this is a station, unlike the ABC, which bludgeons money off the taxpayers and has a bottomless pit of cash at its disposal. We pay for our own existence here at 5AA, and the listeners know that. And sometimes they might even get a bit irritated by the ads, but they know that that's the thing that keeps the show running. So seeing advertisers is part of it. But sometimes it might be 4 o'clock. I've just picked the kids up from school. I'll get a ring from a sales rep. Oh, Pembo, sorry to bother you, but wanted to pick your brains about this ad campaign or something. And you go, that's fine. The difference for teachers, and I was thinking about this the other day when we had a face-to-face visit with one of Sam's teachers that had been rescheduled on account of all of our family dramas with my late beloved mother-in-law being on the way out in ICU. We ended up seeing Sam's teacher at 5:15 and spent more than half an hour with her. Now, he's currently in a composite class that's got 55 kids in it. Now, the teachers aren't responsible for all of them because there's 3 teachers in this group setting, and it sounds chaotic. It was actually working really well. It's a public school. So his teacher would have about probably 27, 28 kids under her direct control. Now, if every single one of those parents wants to have a chat to her, out of hours, setting aside all the departmental stuff and the whatever the principal might want to talk to her about, or the assistant principal, you can see how it would totally do their heads in. So I think it's fair. I still have major doubts about face-to-face, the demanded reduction in face-to-face teaching time, and the impact that is going to have on kids' education. Because as I've said before, when I went to school in the 70s, school finished at 3:30, didn't finish at 3:05, so the school day is significantly shorter than it was. It's 2.5 hours a week less than kids were getting in the 1970s. And the other thing, and this isn't teacher bashing, but the union has to recognise that there is a widespread community view that if you get 12 weeks holiday a year, you got to be prepared to cop a bit of extra pressure as part of that job, because no one else is on a wicket that good. Is that fair?
Yeah, I think most teachers would say it's not 12 weeks.
Well, how many weeks is it?
Well, they're in the classroom a week after and a week before every term break. So it works out to, you might minus that out, and it's actually more reasonable than you think.
Is that true? A full week?
Yeah, every teacher I know does that.
Okay.
What now? The thing I would say, it stuns me in this whole conversation we've had, and I'm pretty sympathetic to the concept that there might be onerous or over-the-top government requirements when it comes to paperwork and bureaucracy, because it just tends to be what governments do. It stuns me that we're still this far into this negotiation, and the answer is, well, there's too much paperwork to do, so what we should do is less teaching. And the answer isn't less paperwork.
Yeah, very good point.
How are we not there? And that's
I think we're there because there would be hundreds of people whose job depends on paperwork.
Yeah.
Like, how often do you deal with a government department and you have to, what? What do I have to do? So it's probably what cops would say the same thing about, you pull someone over for jaywalking these days, and I was speaking with some experience. You end up standing there for 20 minutes while they fill in the form. I think everything's become less streamlined than it once was because we're so process-driven.
Yeah. Passes through so many hands.
There's probably a lot of child protection stuff that feeds into it these days as well. I can remember just the simple act of being a football coach, a school football coach, like doing a security clearance was one thing. Then we got told we had to become mandatory notifiers as football coaches. And I was thinking, like, what am I sort of working for Department of Community Services out here, just kicking the ball around with the boys?
Well, I bet we've got tradie. I think tradies even going on school property need to go through a police check and so forth these days. So someone has to process that and file that and do that. I bet we've got people listening that have had to go through that process. You're right. Every single step of the way requires paperwork, and maybe that's the issue.
One here's scotching the 12 weeks holiday myth, which I just peddled. I peddled it deliberately because if you look at, I'm talking about the perception and the public commentary. Half the comments on all of the online coverage of this strike are about the 12 weeks holidays. However, here's a text saying it's crap. When do teachers prepare their lessons and mark assignments? Out of hours and during these so-called holidays. My partner is a teacher. 12 weeks off a year is an absolute myth. One here, as a tradie, I constantly get calls from clients late evening and Sundays just because they want to chat about the job. That's
Really?
Seriously, I'd never do that to a tradie.
I've never thought that.
I just ring you, sorry, it's 8 o'clock on a Sunday. I've just been thinking about whether we should go with the Merbow for the pool deck.
Now, the S-Ben's blocked. How are you thinking of tackling that problem?
Yeah, I know you're coming tomorrow.
Yeah. What?
I've just been having a bit of a look at the toilet.
Who are these people that ring the tradie for a chat about the job? That's crazy.
Tradies have got every right to just say,
oh, don't answer the phone, I reckon.
You don't have to answer the phone.
No, exactly right. Poppy Dave's called in. Morning, Dave.
Hey, how are you? I've cleaned windows for 40 years, and we clean empty schools at Christmas, and we have to have a full-on police check.
What, where there's no one there?
Yeah, and not just you can't just go into the one at the police station. You have to do it through the department, and that I've got aged care, I've got working with vulnerable, And I thought working with vulnerable would cover everything, but it's the actual child one, the department child one, takes precedence over anything.
That's
crazy.
Thank you, Dave, for calling us and telling us. If that's an example of the menial paperwork that's dragging down, no, there's not just teachers here, but everyone trying to interact with the government, well, I think we've pretty credibly identified what the issue is here.
Yeah, well, part of the issue.
Part of the issue. I just don't. It stuns me that we should reduce teaching time, not reduce paperwork. But clearly, it's not that simple. 17 after 6 news headlines are coming up in a moment.
Good pals are hard to find, but at Parafield Airport Liquor Store, hard to find is our specialty. Whether you're after old reliable pals or want some new pals, Sam, Jamie and the team know just the pals for you. They've made pals with over 200 gins, over 300 craft beers, over 500 whiskies from around the world, and over 2,000 wines. Parafield Airport Liquor Store. Pals. Open till late 7 days. Next to Roulette's Tavern, Kings Road, Parafield.
The BMW sale event is on now. Experience exceptional savings at your local BMW dealer today. While stocks last, receive a $5,000 trade-in bonus, plus a 5-year BMW service package on all demonstrators across the BMW range. This exceptional offer is only available from your local BMW dealer. Adelaide BMW West Terrace, Adelaide, and Glenelg BMW Brighton Road, Glenelg. Don't miss it. Demonstrator sale event on now.
Now, don't let the name fool you. Adelaide Direct Stationers may be all Adelaide and very direct, but they're much more than stationery. They can actually help you save a life.
Every workplace should have a defibrillator on site, and Adelaide Direct Stationers make it easy to have one with 2 incredible heart sign AED packages on offer, complete with standard wall cabinet, signage, and a premium prep kit. Packages start from $1,945.
Key features to these life-saving defibrillators include simple operation, visual and audio prompts, fast shock time, an 8-year warranty, and more.
Plus, when you order your Heart Sign AED package through Adelaide Direct Stationers, you get free next day delivery. Act now and save.
Whatever you need, Adelaide Direct Stationers have got, with same day 2-hour express delivery also available. Visit adelaidedirectstationers.com.au.
You've got just 3 days to get your tickets for the ultimate payday in the Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery. 5 winners will pocket $100,000 each just for getting tickets by Friday. Plus, you'll stay in all remaining draws, including our biggest grand prize ever. Hurry, only 3 days remain. What would you do with a $100K cash boost? See full details at homelottery.com.au. That's homelottery.com.au. Licence M14411.
Breakfast on 5AA. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
Jobs, apprenticeships, traineeships and careers. Maxima can help. Learn more today at maxima.com.au.
9 after 6 news headlines on this Tuesday morning. Been talking about the teachers' strike action that's been called off. The good news is also for tram commuters. A 24-hour tram strike scheduled for today was called off in the afternoon yesterday, so drivers can consider a new pay offer from Torrens Connect. We've been talking about the teachers. Meanwhile, nurses, doctors and firefighters are considered the most ethical workers by Australians. Nurses, doctors and firefighters. The Governance Institute's Ethics Index reveals politicians and real estate agents are ranked in the bottom 5. Do we have any real estate agents listening that might want to make their case, defend their profession?
We know so many great real estate agents. That's really unfair.
Chief Executive Megan Motto says frontline workers are the most appreciated in the nation.
They're the people right at the front line of services in Australia. So fireys, ambos, pharmacists, particularly people that are looking after our health, safety and well-being. So they're really seen as very, very ethical.
How did our profession go in this little survey?
I don't think journalists typically hold up particularly well. I don't know. I'd be interested to know from our listeners, what do you consider the most and least ethical professions? Nomination for the most, nomination for the least ethical professions. Not a reflection on the individuals, but if you've got a sort of a broad strokes view of a profession, poor old real estate agents, down with politicians.
Is there any mention of lawyers in that?
No, not that I've only got access to the bottom 2 and the top 3.
We need to get the full list.
Yeah, all right. I might try and dig that out, and we'll pour over it because that's interesting. North Korea's supreme leader is on his way to Russia. He never struggles with the approval ratings.
No, he's very popular.
Very popular.
Yep. Not ill. He's very ill. He's so ill. In fact, he's dead.
He departed this
Kim Jong
mortal
very
coil
ill
about 12 years ago.
Zun.
Kim Jong-un's meeting Vladimir Putin. His armoured train is en route to Vladivostok.
It's like something out of the Thunderbirds, isn't it?
Well, his father was terrified of flying it. It seems like it's been passed down in the family. So they're having to host this thing in Vladivostok because the armoured train only goes 37 miles per hour.
37 miles an hour. Geez, that's a real
Well,
testament to state-sponsored, state-run enterprise, isn't it?
It must be so laden in armour that it's weighed down. I'm not sure.
You might as well borrow the Cockle train in Goola to get there.
The details of the meeting are being kept secret. The US is concerned North Korea could offer resources to support Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Woolworths is set to almost halve the amount of money customers can withdraw. Cash withdrawals will be cut from $500 to $200 this week. The supermarket says it's because people are using less cash. $500 out of Woolworths.
I had no idea.
I didn't know you
that
could
much.
take out that much.
I reckon at our Foodland, it's like, anything more than 200. In fact, you've got to ask special permission to get that much.
Well, I commonly will see people say, "Can I get $50 out?"
Yeah,
I don't ever recall seeing anyone get any more multiples of 100.
$500. That's a lot of money.
Yeah. The Qatar Airways flight has returned to Melbourne after dumping fuel over the Bass Strait. The Boeing 777 was bound for Doha, but experienced flap issues after takeoff. It circled for around 20 minutes before the captain made the decision to dump fuel and return to Melbourne. The aircraft landed safely without incident. And the number of people killed in the earthquake in Morocco has risen to 2,500. Rescuers are using their bare hands to search for survivors. Friday's quake has been called the country's deadliest in 60 years.
Terribly sad story. Geez, we've got a mountain of texts about the question of workload for teachers and face-to-face teaching time, and also the onerous nature of the bureaucracy, particularly vis-a-vis security clearances and all that sort of stuff. One here, you're right, the amount of paperwork and clearances and compliance required to work at government schools probably triples our price. One here, David, it's how my mother talks to me when I'm in trouble. A reduction in face-to-face teaching time does not mean a reduction in lesson time for students. What it will mean in practicality is more teachers needing to be employed in schools. Jared says, if my wife got paid the time she went into school outside of hours or did work in the holidays or at home, she'd be on $500,000 a year. That 12 weeks holiday is a myth, believe me. The look I get when I bring up the holidays isn't worth the battle. One here, teachers are not the only people who work on weekends. Working at uni, I'm answering emails and reading reports every weekend between classes. My son's teachers are happily available after hours as the students navigate SACE. It's only the whinging teachers crying poor on 120 grand who are giving them all a bad name. Keep them coming. Thank you, folks.
0448 08 1395 with a huge range of vehicles available on the hills in Murray Bridge. Duttons can deliver right now. The weather today, top of 23. I'll just give you the maximums because it's always sunny all this week. 26 tomorrow, 28 Thursday, 23 Friday, 24 Saturday, 26 Sunday and 26 on Monday.
Lovely.
Tom Wren's in the FIVEAA Breakfast Studio. Get 10-year warranty and 10 years cap price servicing on the new Mitsubishi Outlander at Agostino Mitsubishi. Morning, Rennie.
Morning to you, Will. Morning, David. Well done to Harry Grant, who won the Samfels McGarry Medal, the highest honour individual honour last night.
What a finish.
Well, 5 best on grounds in a row to finish the season. That's an amazing effort.
He's a gun player.
Yeah, he had knee surgery last year, was a bit more of a tagger, like run-with player in 2021, so a great effort from him. And the Dogs had a pretty strong season.
They did. They were
finished really
very
well.
good. They'll be good again next year. But
Yep.
it was a good count.
Yeah, it was a really good count. So well done to him. He just beat out Norwood's Nick Rokar, who went down by 3 votes. So well done to him. Boys, I want you to get your hats on. It caused a bit of debate last week. Your crystal ball. Tribunal tonight. This time tomorrow, what are we going to be saying? If you can work this out, you're a genius. And
he gets 3 weeks.
You reckon he gets 3 weeks?
He'll get 3 weeks. Yeah.
Given the public, I reckon the tribunal, there's no doubt they're swayed by public sentiment and everything else.
Public sentiment or pro-Collingwood sentiment?
Yeah, well, exactly.
Which is what Brayshaw's brother has said overnight. Can't remember his first name.
Hamish.
He played 1 game, I think, for West Coast. He came out and said, look, the fix is in. And I don't know if you can go quite so far as to say it's a conspiracy, but it does arouse suspicions when initially they weren't even going to refer it to the tribunal. They weren't even going to look at it. Now that's
no, but referring to the tribunal means you think it's a minimum of 3 weeks. Referring to the tribunal isn't we're going to look at it. That's you think it's 3 weeks.
But what I thought, Laura,
she stepped in. The match review panel said there's nothing to see here.
Oh, sorry, I meant the match review panel.
Yeah,
I meant the match review panel.
Yeah, so
they've got to look at it, don't they?
I think it was a horrible accident. And
see, well, this is where I know the listeners are probably going to get into me and probably you again, Tom, because we're the softies on this issue. The thing I struggle with is I have no recollection, and I'm not an expert, but I have watched a lot of games in my 54 years. I can't remember seeing a smother go wrong like that. This guy flying through the air like some human missile, knocking a bloke out cold.
With his arms outstretched above his head, missile.
Well,
looked like a human sail.
Can you remember? Can you remember a smother happening like this?
Yeah, that's not really an argument to prosecute someone.
Well, it goes to recklessness, perhaps.
It's a bit odd. No, I think they will do it because the history of the AFL is if there's a head injury, someone's to blame.
That's it. I think that's it.
So that's the way they assess it.
Yep.
I think it was just it was what happens when you have people running at each other at full pace in a game of football. And if he was a Crows player, we'd be screaming bloody murder. If that was, Chase Jones,
if Brayshaw
was Chase Jones, and he got rubbed out for 3 weeks.
No, he's saying if Maynard
was a Crows player, if it was Chase Jones and he was going to miss a grand final because of that, it would be the biggest story in Adelaide. It's because it's Braden Maynard and he's a bit rough and he plays the villain and it's the Toby Green treatment. Clearly, the AFL. The reality is though, in the cold light of the AFL has established precedent here. It doesn't matter intent.
Yep.
If you ended up with that result,
yes, if someone's out,
someone's made a mistake somewhere.
And Brayshaw's probably not going to play again this year.
Yeah, I think that's what will happen.
Yeah.
But what about the fact that it's the finals though? Because I mean, think back to 2005,
Barry
Hall.
Yeah. There is usually a tax going the other way, isn't there? And then outside of all of that, you got Jack Martin who's trying to fight his 2-match suspension. I don't think he'll have any luck tonight either. I think he might get off.
I'd be stunned, but I think that'd be the right decision. See, I thought the Van Rooyen one was way worse.
He ran past the football.
He ran past the football to hurt a bloke.
The problem was he didn't cause...
That's right.
He didn't cause the injury. Now, if he did to Brayshaw, he'd get 12 weeks.
That's right.
But that's where it's at now, isn't it?
You're exactly right, Rennie.
That's where
you're
it's
exactly
at.
Right.
Fascinating.
You're such a brute, Will.
Yeah.
Thank you, Rennie.
Good on
Cue
you,
the
boys.
text saying you and I, Tom, are a pair of Nancy boys.
Oh, yeah, that's it. And look, yeah. Anyway.
Thank you, Rennie.
Intriguing.
Get 10-year warranty, 10 years cap price servicing of the new Mitsubishi Outlander at Agostino Mitsubishi.
Did you know home care packages are available to residents aged 65 plus in Adelaide? Genu are experts with over 30 years experience, partnering with local providers, helping you get the best value from your home care package and enabling you to maintain independence in your own home. To find out more about Genu's home care packages today or how to transfer your existing package, call 1300 558 368 or visit genu.org.au. Genu, supporting you your way.
G'day, it's Rory Sloan. Schools, councils and businesses all over South Australia choose Leader Computers for very important reasons. Leader is local and offers exceptional value. No matter what happens, Leader can be on site to fix your problem. No overseas or interstate call centres to deal with. Plus, Leader Computers is a 100% owned and operated South Australian company, offering fast same-day delivery and setup. Grow your business and get behind a Leader. Find your local dealer at leadersystems.com.au.
Now you can meet Australia's top 100 innovators. Don't miss the List Innovators magazine to see which boundary-pushing trailblazers and business leaders have made the cut. Exclusively in The Australian and online this Friday.
This is Adelaide's FIVEAA.
Sunny and 23 with the 6:30 news. I'm Kendall Brentig.
Keep in shape with physio-instructed clinical Pilates and gym classes at 6 locations. physioextra.com.
Trams will be operating as normal today after strike action was called off by their union. More from David Bruce.
A stoppage of Adelaide's tram network would have caused commuter chaos today, but discussions yesterday between the union and Torrens Connect were promising enough for the industrial action to be scrapped, at least for the time being. The union's Darren Phillips says workers recognise the dispute is frustrating for commuters, and they've decided to call off the industrial action while they consider a new offer. Meanwhile, Friday's planned teachers' strike has also been called off. Education Minister Blair Boyer says negotiations between the government and the teachers' union have been positive. A revised offer has been sent to the union, and he's hoping a second day of strike action can be avoided.
Builders say a plan to construct 30,000 new social and affordable homes will help the industry as well as vulnerable Australians. The federal government secured the Greens' support for its $10 billion Housing Future Fund. The legislation is expected to pass Parliament this week. Master Builders Australia Chief Danita Warren says it's welcome progress.
This has been a critical issue that has taken too long, but at least we've got there in the end. The industry is ready to build these homes, as we particularly are confronted by declines in housing approvals.
18 people have been arrested on 64 charges following a major drug bust in central Queensland. Police allegedly seized 1.6 kilos of methamphetamine and almost $120,000 in cash. The seizure was part of an ongoing operation. The number of people killed in a powerful earthquake in Morocco has risen to 2,500. Rescuers are using their bare hands to search for any survivors. Friday's quake has been called the country's deadliest in more than 100 years. From New York City to small towns, the US has marked 22 years since the 9/11 terror attacks. More from US correspondent Alison Petrowski.
The largest ceremony was at the World Trade Center Memorial, where families of the victims gathered alongside US Vice President Kamala Harris and former New York City Mayor Rudy Giuliani. Several moments of silence took place to mark when the two planes hit the Twin Towers, when the Pentagon was attacked, and when Flight 93 was hijacked. The names of the near 3,000 men, women and children killed in the 2001 attacks were read out.
Uncle Noel, I'm so proud to be named after you. Our family misses you, and we ask you to please continue watching over us. You'll never be forgotten, Uncle Noel.
This year's focus was on incorporating children into the ceremonies, making sure that this day and those lives are never forgotten.
And the 2023 Ethics Index is out, revealing a low reading for politicians and real estate agents. The independent survey by research company Ipsos has found frontline workers are considered our most ethical and trustworthy professions. Chief Executive Megan Motto says it's a mixed bag for pollies.
Politicians at state, local and federal level have all seen an overall boost in the perception of how ethical they are. So that's the good news. The bad news is, though, that they are still 3 out of the bottom 5, trumped only by real estate agents at the very bottom.
Now turning to FIVEAA Sport.
Get 10-year warranty and 10 years capped price servicing on the new Mitsubishi Outlander at Agostino Mitsubishi.
Here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Kendall. Harry Grant has won the SANFL's highest honour after winning last night's McGarry medal. Incredibly, Grant was voted best on ground in Central's final 5 matches of the season to beat Norwood's Nick Rokar by 3 votes. And he says it's a surreal feeling to be a McGarry medalist.
It's been a crazy 12 months for me. It's I've gone from doing some run with roles in 2022. Obviously had knee surgery, and then now it's it's pretty crazy to think part of the prestigious club.
Yeah, great stuff. Port Adelaide's got work to do to work out which players will be fit for Saturday night's semi-final clash against GWS. Carlton, meantime, will challenge Jack Martin's 2-game ban for striking when the tribunal sits this afternoon. And Collingwood's Braden Maynard is looking to clear his name with a rough conduct charge hearing, also to be held today over his collision which concussed Melbourne's Angus Brayshaw. Well, celebrations will continue for Novak Djokovic after he made history again, winning his 4th US Open and his 24th career major. The Serb defeated Daniil Medvedev in straight sets, and he says the emotion he felt at the end was relief.
I didn't celebrate maybe as I did in Roland Garros, or didn't fall to the floor or jump out of joy, or I'm so relieved when I saw his forehand in the net. The next thing I wanted is to hug my daughter, because she was there sitting in the front row. I didn't know that she's going to be seated there.
Yeah, it was great scenes, and that is the FIVEAA Sport.
Now the FIVEAA forecast.
Can't remember when you had your brakes checked? It's been too long. Call 1300 Automasters now.
Sunny and 23 today, warmer on Wednesday, 26, 28 for Thursday, and sunny on Friday down to 23. At the moment, 12. More news as it happens on FIVEAA.
Are mild varicose veins making your legs feel achy, heavy and uncomfortable? Introducing Caruso's best-selling Veins Care formula, Caruso's Veins Clear. Caruso's Veins Clear relieves the uncomfortable symptoms associated with mild varicose veins, such as aching, heaviness, leg swelling and itchiness. It also maintains circulation to the legs and supports blood vessel health. Caruso's Veins Clear is made in Australia and is available from leading pharmacies and health stores. Always read the label and follow the directions for use.
The referendum is coming soon. It's important you're enrolled to vote. If you've recently changed your name or address, turned 18 or become an Australian citizen, you must update your details or enrol now. Check your details or enrol online at aec.gov.au or pick up a form from any AEC office and return it this week. When you vote, your answer matters. Enrol or update your details before 8 p.m. on Monday the 18th of September. Authorised by the Electoral Commissioner, Canberra.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head to 5AA on Facebook or YouTube.
Breakfast on 5AA. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
Jobs, apprenticeships, traineeships and careers. Maxima can help. Learn more today at maxima.com.au.
23 to 7. If you're looking on the Foodland Supermarkets Facebook and YouTube live stream, you'll see the magnificent, the camera on the roof of our building here in Hindmarsh Square showing a beautiful sunrise over the Adelaide Hills this morning.
Set 2 to the dulcet tones of Iggy Pop's Lust for Life.
Exactly right. It's all
the
coming
least
together.
5AA song you could play, isn't it? You know, I'm going to play it out with some stooges this morning. But how can you not have a lust for life with weather this good, though, Will?
It is. Oh, it is spectacular.
28, 26, 22.
Based on
20,
that sky
20,
cam, doesn't look like there's a cloud in the sky.
No, I don't think there is a cloud in the sky. It's terrific.
We do have AFL Grand Final tickets just to make someone's day better as well.
Oh, yeah.
We'll be putting someone in the running a little bit later this morning. You heard the format yesterday. For those that didn't tune in late, simple as this. We play 3 performances from Grand Final entertainment over the whole stretch run of AFL Grand Finals. You need to tell us each song and artist. There's 3 of them. Yesterday it took, 2 callers? The first caller missed the middle one, I think. So we'll play 3 more tracks.
Are we going to get any Barry Crocker, do you think, in the course of the next 9 days? I hope we are, because I'm pretty sure Barry Crocker was one of the first, if not the first.
Well, if that is the case, he will. I guarantee he'll be part of one of the
Didn't do any
montages.
Didn't do any tunes from the Adventures of Barry Mackenzie, sadly.
Barry Crocker is sort of rhyming slang in Australia for having a shocker, and Joe Biden's had a Barry Crocker at the G20 Leaders Summit. I want to play you snippets of audio. And this is what I like. The thing we get to do on radio is actually play people the audio firsthand so you can make your own assessment. You don't have to read secondhand. You can maybe give the man the benefit of the doubt.
We offer no judgment.
But,
well, you did. You said you had a Barry Crocker.
No, I'm in the Barry Crocker camp.
Oh, no, don't worry, mate. Right there with you.
There's 3 little bits of audio. The first is the longest. So he was at the G20 Leaders Summit and he was asked about climate change in one of the questions. He assembled press from around the world. It's not the usual setup. He's there in Hanoi in Vietnam, and he was asked about climate change and started rambling on about a movie he once saw.
My brother loves having these famous lines from movies that he always quotes. You know, and one of them is there's a movie about John Wayne. He's an Indian scout, and they're trying to get I think it was Apache, one of the great tribes of America, back on the reservation. And he's standing with the Union, so they're all armed, they're on their horses in their saddles.
You can't quite make it out because the audio doesn't sound great, but the reality, what you can hear enough is the slurring of words and the
weird tangential anecdote. Talking about the question was about climate change, and he starts talking about a movie starring John Wayne involving an
Apache scout.
An Apache scout.
That wasn't
hard to follow the link.
Wasn't where the weirdness ended, though.
Anyway, I just think that there are other things on leaders' minds, and they respond to what's needed at the time. And look, nobody likes having celebrated international meetings if you don't know what you want at the meeting. If you don't have a game plan. He may have a game plan. He just hasn't shared it with me. But I tell you what, I don't know about you, but I'm going to go to bed.
Now, that shouldn't be funny. He's talking about negotiations with China. But
that's how the press conference ends.
No, it's not how the press conference ends.
I thought that was the end of it.
No, the press conference goes on and it gets worse.
I thought that was the finish.
No, that's not the finish.
I didn't see the rest of it.
That was him talking about China, I
thought he just went to bed after.
He seemed to lose. He was running. Well, he needed to because you could see his battery's powering down. He was barely to get through the sentence, and he admitted he needed to go to bed. The press conference actually went on after that point, and it was cut off mid-sentence by his minders on the loudspeaker. Have a listen.
We talked about at the conference overall. We talked about stability. We talked about making sure that the third world, the southern hemisphere had access to change it. Had access. It wasn't confrontational at all.
Thank you, everybody. This ends the press conference. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Have you ever heard anything like that in your entire life? The most powerful man on earth.
It's sad, really, isn't it? It is.
Being cut off mid-sentence whilst rambling on, unable to distinguish between the southern hemisphere and the third world.
What, they have Richard Clayderman in the wings with his grand piano as well. What was the piano? It was like being at Panorama Foodland.
He was played off like he was a rambling actor on Oscars night. All right.
The poor bloke. He's cooked.
The most powerful line that I saw come out of that performance yesterday, which on the world stage was shocking, was that if you think he's bad now, how is he going to be in 5 years? That's what Republicans were running with in the presidential campaign.
It's a totally fair point. And anyone who says lay off him, well, Reagan copped it all throughout his second term where he was losing his faculties.
But it's not about age. We've said this, it's not about age, it's about capacity.
No, exactly.
If he can't,
there's people older than Joe Biden who are completely on top of things.
If he can't answer routine questions in a press conference that wasn't particularly confrontational, just routine, how are your negotiations with China going, and did climate change come up?
It wasn't a proper press conference. It was 5 reporters who'd all been handpicked by the White House.
Right. So if you can't, what happens in negotiations behind closed doors? What happens when you're sitting down to broker bits of legislation or negotiate with parties or come to agreements or have to, in America's case, be pretty stern with other nations around the world from time to time? How does he conduct himself in those environments? How does that even work?
Well, he sounds like he's flat out getting through a sentence, and an unchallenging one at that. If you put him in a heated or challenging situation, who knows how he'd cope. But yeah, there's absolutely no way that guy can run for president again. God help America if he does.
I think he will.
Yeah, well, then it comes down to a question of, for America, and this may have almost been the result in a way last time, would you be prepared to vote for someone who is basically non-compos mentis? He's just a vaguely sentient human, as opposed to Donald Trump.
That's your 2 options.
And almost half the country, yep, we will.
Yeah, well, they're going to be asked
we don't
again.
care how dodder he is, at least he's not Donald Trump.
Lots of Dutton's texts coming through on 048008 1395 on a couple of the issues discussed over the course of the first half hour on the show.
Sean says about the Maynard bump, smother, if he gets off tonight, it'll change the rules of the AFL forever. Most players do a vertical leap, not a vertical lunge towards the face. One here, the tribunal will use Maynard as a precedent. Maynard will be punished and get 3 weeks. Collingwood will use this to win the premiership. And still a lot about the teacher strike. Simon from Seaford says, I think it's now time principals and deputies came off the same award as teachers and enter the public service award system. Principals can be on 180 grand a year and have responsibility for their site and need to be contacted after hours. They also need to keep their employees accountable. This is harder to do when you're both on the same award. One from Julie. I'm very concerned about the police horses go to Jepp's Cross. During peak hour, they'd never get to an emergency in the city. The parklands have always been for the people, so therefore they should be in the parklands. Thank you, Julie. We've got a good breaking at 8 about that. Stick around.
A couple of Biden texts coming through as well.
Yes, there are. Here we go. Joe says, Sleepy Joe gets away with a lot from the US media. Imagine if he was a Republican. Guys, we all know that Biden has dementia. Do we have to make fun and register so-called capital with an ill person? It's disgusting that the US allows this to happen. Talking about moral and immoral jobs, Russell says televangelists, psychics and mediums. But you psychics would have known I was going to say that. Thank you, Russell.
So he was putting them in the least reputable.
Least reputable.
Not the most reputable.
Yeah.
Okay.
We've got to get the whole list.
We will get the whole list. 14 to 7. Let's check traffic first. Thanks to Keezer. You're tired of back pain? Time to try Keezer. KIESER.com.au.
Thanks, Will, and good morning. She is smooth sailing for the run into work today, which is great. No great dramas. Northern Connector looking the good. Southern Expressway accident and breakdown free. Do have a lane closed to Dry Creek to look out for. Churchill Road near Flame Avenue speeds at 40. And starting to get slow South Road at Theberton. No great surprises there. Cameras Francis Road, Wingfield and Grey Terrace at Rosewater. Feel like a coffee? Enjoy a freshly ground barista-made quality coffee from OTR. Order on the OTR app and it's as easy as click and collect. OTR. Making life easy. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
It's not just the ute you want, it's the ute you need. The Mitsubishi Triton Ute. Current top-of-the-range Mitsubishi Triton GSR and GLS double cab utes are in stock now. Every Triton comes with Australia's only 10-year new car warranty and 10 years cap price servicing. It means worry-free motoring now and well into the future. T's and C's apply. Visit your local Mitsubishi Motors dealership today while stocks last. Nothing can frighten a Triton.
You've got just 3 days to get your tickets for the ultimate payday in the Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery. 5 winners will pocket $100,000 each just for getting tickets by Friday. Plus, you'll stay in all remaining draws, including our biggest grand prize ever. Hurry, only 3 days remain. What would you do with a $100K cash boost? See full details at homelottery.com.au. That's homelottery.com.au.
Licence M14411.
Now, when it comes to all things tools for tradies and serious DIYers, you get it all in the one place at Toolkit Depot.
Tools, equipment, safety gear and workwear open 7 days and online. Plus, Toolkit Depot is celebrating the opening of a new store in Seaford on September 16.
Get exclusive deals on the day with free food and drinks, plus meet Crow's Star Rory Laird from 9am till 10am.
There's a lot on offer, including Depot dollars. For every $250 you spend at Toolkit Depot Seaford on the day, you get $50 in gift cards to spend store-wide.
And remember, Toolkit Depot has a huge range of outdoor power equipment, including mowers, trimmers, chainsaws and more to kickstart your spring projects.
Check out the grand opening of another Toolkit Depot at 13 to 15 Seaford Road, Seaford Meadows on September 16. Toolkit Depot, everything you need to get the job done.
It's Ian Healy, and I'm here to talk to you about back pain and Keezer. If you're one of the 80% of Australians who suffer from back pain, it's tempting to do nothing. But this can cause weaknesses down the road. The best place to start with back pain is exercise, and the best place to exercise is Keezer. Keezer's physios and Swiss-designed strength training equipment help you build strength in a supervised environment. I go to Keezer and you can too at our new clinic in Norwood. Book your initial assessment at keezer.com.au.
Breakfast on 5AA. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
If you're living with a disability, injury or health condition and looking for work, visit maxima.com.au.
11 minutes to 7, we have managed to trace down the Governance Institute's Ethics Index. It turns out journalists didn't get a great rap. We'll talk more about that very shortly because it does contain some very interesting insights. We're trying to find some support for real estate agents who got smashed, we think somewhat unfairly, but we will...
Haven't they heard of like Naomi Will? Every time we organise a charity event, she's on the phone giving us $1,000. I should be careful saying that. We're not even holding a charity event today. She'll probably ring up and donate money.
Will.
She's the most generous person in South Australia.
She's clearly carrying the can for the entire industry at this point.
What about
McGain do it as well.
Yeah.
How many of our charities have they helped out?
Heaps. Mike Dobbin, he bought that island up in Queensland, and he's going to get it all fixed up so that people on the bones of their backside can go there for holidays.
Exactly right.
Lives to give.
We're going to have a closer look at this list very shortly.
We're bottom, though, and rightly so.
Well... We're bottom as a sector, that's for sure. Let's head to the Weather Bureau. Jenny Horvat joins us. Jenny, good morning. Another beautiful day on the way today.
Yeah, look, we're in a pretty stable pattern there, guys. We've got our high-pressure system to the east, and it's just going to stay there and be the dominant feature for the week, maintaining that northerly airstream. So those warm and sunny conditions are continuing. We're pretty much at our coolest point this morning. Minimum temperature about now, 10.9 degrees at our West Terrace Naidapira observation site. Aiming for a top temperature of around 23 degrees in the city, 24 around the northern suburbs, 22, 23 along the coast, and 23 for Mount Barker. Similar conditions for Wednesday. Wednesday, maybe just a tad warmer, around 25, 26 degrees after a minimum temperature of around 12. Mostly sunny conditions. Warm day ahead coming up on Thursday with those northerlies still maintaining, maybe around 27, 28 degrees after a minimum maybe of around 16 degrees. A bit of a warm night through there. Then we've either got a bit of a late change coming through Thursday or early Friday. It's a little dip in the temperature back down into the low 20s, but it will be a dry change. And returning to sunny conditions for the weekend, we are looking at around 24, 26 degrees and a dry start to next week. And just quickly out on the waters today, we've got those northeasterly winds of around 10 knots, shifting a bit more northwesterly and probably below 10 knots during the afternoon before flipping back to the east-northeast in the evening, seas below 1 metre.
Thank you, Jenny. Jenny Horvath at the Weather Bureau. Let's head to SAPOL. Senior Constable Peter Squire joins us. Peter, there was a car fire at Salisbury this morning.
Yeah, before we go into that, I actually got a teaching degree before I joined SAPOL, and I taught for 1 day, and that was the extent of my teaching career.
1 day, really?
What happened?
1 day. Took me nearly 5 years, just with some deferrals and stuff. And I went and taught. I was primary trained, taught in a high school, and it was probably the worst day of my life. It was like out of a movie. So, anyways, the following week, I thought, right, I'm going to join SAPOL. So I applied to join SAPOL.
Can I ask, Peter?
And 23 years later, here we are.
Was it just the stress of having to deal with a classroom of kids?
Yeah, well, and I was asked to teach Indonesian, and I was PE trained, so I was like, I've got no idea, and it was a double lesson, and it was year 9s, and you know how hard year 9s are. And so and they said, oh, we'll see you back tomorrow. And I said, oh, I'm really sorry, I won't be back. And that was that.
So out of a choice between unruly kids and hardened criminals, you went, give me the crims.
Going for the criminals.
Oh, that's a terrific anecdote.
Fantastic.
Thanks for sharing it, Peter. Good
No
on you.
worries.
Oh, crikey.
So, yes, back to the car fire.
Yeah, car
so
fire.
just before 3 o'clock this morning, emergency services were called to Lode Street at Salisbury, and that was after a report 2 cars were set alight. Now, MFS crews, they were quickly on scene and they extinguished the blaze. However, the fire did destroy a Fiat hatchback and a Subaru Liberty. Now, the fires are being treated as suspicious, and crime scene investigators will be attending to examine the scene this morning. We're just asking anyone who saw or heard any suspicious activity in the street to please contact Crime Stoppers on 1800 333 000.
Great stuff, Peter. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Peter. We're glad you became a police officer. Senior Constable Peter Squire from SAPOL.
What does it say about the stress of teaching that you'd rather knock around with, drug dealers, armed gunmen, members of the Gypsy Jokers, etc.? Not singling them out. Just name that came into my head. Nothing against the good people at the Gypsy Jokers.
No, it's
Could
part
have
of
been any
all in a day's work.
outlaw criminal motorcycle gang. Hey, this is great. We have spoken previously to our next guest, Natalie Bunworth. I think Lucy and I spoke to Natalie last year ahead of the City to Bay. And when we caught up with our friends from the City to Bay the other day, we were talking about how, far from just being a fun run, it's actually a massive fundraising vehicle, often for conditions and illnesses that don't have much attention. Well, one of those is a nasty-sounding thing called neuroblastoma, which is a form of cancer that affects nerve tissue. And Natalie Bunworth is again running, I think with a cape, to raise funds for young children who've cruelly been diagnosed with neuroblastoma. Natalie, good morning. Great to be chatting to you again. Did I get that right about the cape?
Yes, that's right. So the cape came with me to New York. So it had 42 children on the back, and now it's sort of grown to the names of 50 children that have had neuroblastoma. So, yeah, so I'll be running my cape and tutu. So, yeah.
Cape and tutu, what a combination.
Yeah, we decided the tutu was for too many too young, so we've got a group of us, and that was the requirement. You had to run in the tutu. So.
This is just a horrible, horrible sounding thing. I can't even bring myself to read some of the personal details of these kids, but it's just shocking, isn't it? And the age at which it hits them is terrible.
Yeah, the average age of diagnosis is only 2 for neuroblastoma, and it's sort of the major cause of death in children under 5 from cancer. God. So, yeah, it's a horrible disease. I think the worst thing is actually the treatment, because it's pretty much 18 months or 2 years of chemo and all that sort of surgery, and, yeah, it's a horrible, horrible disease.
And it sounds like if you need to go overseas to get treatment, it's hugely expensive.
Well, that's right. If once you relapse, we really don't have any options here in Australia for treatment. So as a little boy, Xavier, the $500,000 his family has to fundraise to go overseas for treatment, which is just crazy sort of thing. So
why is that even the case? That in a country as affluent as ours, I mean, we're talking about the proton therapy unit on North Terrace, and you know the amount. I mean, crikey, like you can keep people right at the end of their lives going for days and days and days in any ICU in Australia. Why can't we do this for kids aged 2 to 5?
I think that's the thing. My eyes were open. I just assumed that cancer goes to everyone, but childhood cancer gets about 10% of the research funding from governments, and neuroblastoma gets like less than 2% of the funding goes into research. So there's just not the funding, and kids get different cancers from adults. Like adults don't get neuroblastoma, and kids don't seem to get breast cancer and lung cancer, where all the money's going, sort of thing. So
I think that'd blow people's minds if there was a 90-10 split in cancer funding. Does it go to people with older people with cancers or young or children? That children is the 10%. That's just mind-boggling. Natalie, how do people support you in your City of A run?
Yeah, so we've got a Run to Cure neuroblastoma team. So, if people want to go to, I think it's City to Bay 23, but neuroblastoma, you'll see our fundraising page. And we're actually running for 10 families here in South Australia. So there's 5 neuroblastoma angels. So we're running for those children that have passed away. So, but their families are actually walking and running. So, yeah, it would mean a lot if people just whatever they can support or afford to donate. That would be fantastic. Yeah, it means a lot.
Yeah, for sure. Good on you, Natalie. Natalie Bumworth there running the City to
What a
Bay.
superstar.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great cause. Good on you. Thank you, Natalie.
2 minutes to 7. I've been poring over this data about ethical jobs and industries in Australia. If you want to find out how yours is going, stay listening, because everyone's covered, from agriculture to health to, media,
I tell you what,
teachers, social media entities. We've got it all here. I'm going to go through it. Well, sort of. Social media websites. We're going to go through it all after 7 o'clock.
Now, I should say, too, on the Dutton's text line, Will and I were just saying charitable things about real estate agents who we know and love. Quite a few listeners not agreeing with us.
Yeah. Well, there's a reason they've asked for people's responses. I mean, you can't argue with the data.
I think it's in the middle of a housing squeeze trying to get a straight answer from a real estate agent as to how much a house is likely to go for. It's like, hey, you tell me.
5AA News is coming up. We'll get into that and some of the other big stories in just a moment.
G'day, it's Baz from FIVEAA Milk Company. South Australian dairy farmers are doing it tough right now, but at FIVEAA Milk we always look after our own, and you can too. When you reach for milk, reach for FIVEAA Milk and help support our hard-working South Australian dairy farmers and their families. Because right now, they need our help. 3 words make all the difference. FIVEAA Milk Company. South Australian first and proud of it.
Way back in 1974, Gliderol Garage Doors began manufacturing and installing garage doors in South Australia. A lot has changed since then, but our commitment to quality remains as strong as ever. We have garage door solutions of all kinds. Not only do we have traditional doors, our timber look or custom designer doors ensure your house will make a style statement. For a free measure and quote and helpful advice, give Gliderol a call, 1300 799 177, or go to gliderol.com.au.
It's easy to get behind the wheel of a new Mawson Lakes Volkswagen right now. In fact, it's ridiculously easy. All you need to do is head to the showroom on Salisbury Highway, check out the range of new and demo Volkswagens on sale now, and then pick your favourite. How easy is that? All stock is ready for immediate delivery, with easy finance options available. And remember our next day servicing. Mawson Lakes Volkswagen, Salisbury Highway, just a short drive from the city.
Online, on DAB Digital Radio, and on 1395 AM. Talking Adelaide. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Sunny and 23 with the 7 o'clock news. I'm Kendall Brettig.
Physio Extra, keeping you healthy. Marion, Peary Street, Norwood, Hallett Cove, Seaford and Victor Harbour. PhysioExtra.com.
Strike action has been averted on 2 fronts this week. A 24-hour tram strike scheduled for today was called off yesterday, so drivers can consider a new pay offer from Torrens Connect. And teachers who were threatening to walk off the job on Friday have halted their industrial action after positive discussions with the state government. They've been made a new offer worth more than $1.3 billion. Negotiations are expected to continue this week. The federal government's being urged to consider long-term planning to build more social and affordable homes after securing support for its signature housing bill. Labor's $10 billion housing fund's expected to pass Parliament this week with the support of the Greens. Community Housing Industry Association Chief Wendy Hayhurst says it's a welcome step, but the government mustn't stop there.
We will be arguing through the National Housing and Homelessness Plan that we have additional resources year on year so that we can continue to build after the homes have been completed.
There's growing support for an inheritance tax. The incoming boss of the Productivity Commission, Danielle Wood, says there's simply no policy justification for how little tax retirees pay. She wants a debate on taxing large inheritances. Richard Dennis from the Australia Institute agrees and assures there'd be a trade-off.
Well, look, you've got to pay tax at some point, and as an economist, I'd much rather pay tax when I'm dead than when I'm alive. And countries that have wealth taxes, countries that have death taxes, can have lower personal income taxes. So from an economist's point of view, it's a no-brainer.
2 cars have been destroyed by fire at Salisbury early this morning. Just before 3, fire crews were called to Lode Street at Salisbury after reports 2 cars were ablaze. The fire destroyed a Fiat hatchback and a Subaru Liberty. They're being treated as deliberately lit. Crime scene investigators will attend the scene this morning. The US President has addressed soldiers and first responders to mark 22 years since the September 11 terrorist attacks. Joe Biden's visiting an Alaskan military base and has used his speech to highlight the importance of unity in remembering those lost.
By remembering what we can do together, to remember what destroyed, what we repaired, what was threatened, that we fortified, what was attacked, an indomitable American spirit prevailed over all of it.
The death toll from a powerful earthquake in Morocco has climbed to more than 2,500. Search teams are struggling to find survivors who remain trapped. British Dr Chris Lambert has travelled to the disaster zone and says aid organisations are playing a crucial role.
Thankfully, the weather's quite warm at the moment, but it's going to be getting colder in the next few weeks and months, and they have nowhere to live. So I think what the bigger aid organisations can bring is shelter, getting electricity and telephone, wireless, mobile phone communication is going to be crucial.
An international study of almost 290,000 people has found the key to happiness could be as simple as a good night's sleep. Lead author Professor Barbara Sahakin from the University of Cambridge says sleep acts as a waste disposal for the brain.
We are actually very active in our sleep, so we actually store memories, all the things that we've learned during the day get consolidated while we're sleeping, but we also remove toxins from the brain. So it's a very important process, and if you don't get enough of it, most people realize how much they suffer from it.
Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Get 10-year warranty and 10 years capped price servicing on the new Mitsubishi Outlander at Agostino Mitsubishi.
Here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Kendall. It was a big night for the Sandful, with central midfielder Harry Grant winning the Magarey medal. Grant finished with 27 votes and is only the 7th Bulldog to win the coveted award. Norwood's Nick Rokar finished second with 24 votes, while Sturt captain James Battersby was third with 23 votes. Well, the AFL could crack down on contact like Braden Maynard's attempted smother for next season. The Collingwood defender, who has been charged with rough conduct over his collision which concussed Angus Brayshaw, will look to clear his name at the tribunal this afternoon. Saints coach Ross Lyon has told AFL 360 the case could lead to a rule change.
I think we'll see the tribunal and the appeals, but it will set a precedent. This is a massive test case for the whole AFL. That's what I would think.
Also this afternoon, Carlton will challenge Jack Martin's 2-match ban for striking. AFL and AFLW players, meantime, are set to vote on a new pay deal. The Age reports the new deal is worth $2.2 billion over the next 5 years. It's expected to see the minimum AFLW wage jump from $40,000 this year to $70,000 by 2026. Briefly elsewhere, Australia will look to secure a series win against South Africa when the two countries meet in Game 3 of their best-of-5 one-day series tonight. And plenty of soccer Euro qualifiers on this morning. Croatia has recorded a 1-0 win against Armenia. Wales beat Latvia 2-0. Iceland took care of Bosnia and Herzegovina 1-0. Slovakia smashed Liechtenstein 3-0. But that was nothing compared to Portugal, who destroyed Luxembourg 9-0. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now to the traffic.
For your chance to win 100k, visit homelottery.com.au before September 15.
Looking pretty good for the drive-in today. No great hassles. Getting busy in the usual spots. Grand Junction Road at Cavan. Also South Road at Theberton starting to build. Lane closed at Homemaster to look out for. Park Terrace near 2nd Street. Speeds at 40. And look out for cameras. They're always around. You'll find them Bridge Road, Salisbury East and Great Terrace, Rosewater today. It's $2 Tuesday at OTR. Get a delicious banana bread for only $2. That's too good to pass up. Today only at OTR. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Can't remember when you had your brakes checked? It's been too long. Call 1300 Automasters now.
Sunny and 23 today, warmer tomorrow up to 26, 28 on Thursday, and then sunny on Friday down to 23. At the moment 11. More news as it happens on 5AA.
The referendum is coming soon. It's important you're enrolled to vote. If you've recently changed your name or address, turned 18 or become an Australian citizen, you must update your details or enrol now. Check your details or enrol online at aec.gov.au or pick up a form from any AEC office and return it this week. When you vote, your answer matters. Enrol or update your details before 8 p.m. on Monday the 18th of September. Authorised by the Electoral Commissioner, Canberra.
Looking for an unforgettable experience? Adelaide Strikers hospitality packages are now on sale. Whether you're with family, hosting corporate gatherings, or planning Christmas parties, there's something for everyone. From open-air boxes to fully catered functions. Don't miss out on the Big Bash action this summer at Adelaide Oval. Secure your hospitality for New Year's Eve and other games. For details and packages, visit strikershospitality.com. Adelaide Strikers. Our city, our team.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head to 5AA on Facebook or YouTube.
Breakfast on 5AA. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
If you're living with a disability, injury or health condition and looking for work, visit maxima.com.au.
8 after 7. Stay listening if you want to win AFL Grand Final tickets. Have an ear for music. It could be you. We'll put someone in the running this hour on the program. Also, our jury's coming up. Fascinating to know how this one goes. There's a bit in it for pet lovers, but for people with a dim view of the way in which people are getting leave may have an opposing position for the jury this morning. Won't say more until 7:45 when we go to the jury. Phil Curry, just before that in the nation's capital.
Pet-related leave.
I'm not going to say any more. I'm not going to say any more. We can't lead the jury.
I do remember years ago I worked with a guy who took 2 days off work and said, I can't come in, there's been a death in the family. And we found out there was his cat. Now, I don't want to sound flint-hearted, but to me, or speciesist, to use a term that PETA is trying to get up and running, in the same way you can be a racist.
You can be speciesist.
Yeah.
Well, you would say that it's a cat.
But I sort of think death in the family means an actual human.
You are going to love this story at 7:40. Let me just say that.
I am indeed very pleased that the Housing Australia Future Fund now has majority support in the Senate.
Yeah, big development in Canberra yesterday. Phil Curry will doubtless have more about this after 7:30. But the federal government's key housing policy will now pass Parliament after a deal was brokered with the Greens. This is the major policy whereby, at a strip back to its bare bones, $10 billion is invested in a future fund, and the money that makes, the dividend from that, is spent on building new houses in Australia. That's the sum of it, essentially. There was some wrangling. The Greens wanted the Greens wanted a rent cap initially, which is just madness. That was never going to happen. But what they have settled for in the end is some money that's been brought forward and include 30,000 new and affordable social homes to be built in the first 5 years. That amounts to an extra $1 billion for community housing up front as part of the policy. Here is the Greens yesterday.
That's $3 billion for public and community housing that the government initially said they couldn't find.
Frankly, I'm not happy about the fact that over the next few years we're going to have to keep bashing the Labor over the head on renters.
Yeah, they're going to continue vowing for rent freezes and caps and so forth. But for the purpose of allowing this policy through, they've parked that concern. The opposition, though, is still sceptical. Here is Simon Birmingham.
The Coalition remains firmly opposed to this proposal, as we were during the election campaign and we are now, because it will do nothing to help home ownership rates in Australia.
What about the $3 billion, though? Will that do something?
That's not going to help home ownership rates. I mean, it's not even clear at all as to how that's going to be spent.
I mean, it's interesting we talk about it against the backdrop of a morning we've had a bit of fun talking about the ethics index and people's concern about real estate agents. I think you made the rather poignant observation in the first hour that in that part that's because of people being able to unable to get a house.
Mm. Well, that's what people are saying on the text line, that they just find the whole process so secretive and annoying. Devil's advocate, what's the argument against rent caps? Because I reckon that we'd have listeners going, well, hang on a minute, my rent's gone up $200 in the last 3 years.
Well, the argument against rent caps is you don't incentivise anyone to build any new properties.
Yeah, because you can't make money out of it.
That's right.
So there'll be less housing stock.
Less housing stock.
Equals more homelessness.
That's right.
Because it's not an attractive proposition anymore.
Yeah, someone needs to build the houses.
Yeah.
And they need a financial incentive to do so. So that's that. The good news for that, I guess, for the Prime Minister is this was one of the issues alongside one of his own creation, which was the referendum, which has just felt like it's gone nowhere for 12 months.
He needed a win.
He needed a win, and he's certainly got a win with this one going through.
He needs to look like he's in charge of stuff, because he hasn't looked like that for
that's
the
a good
last
point.
little while.
It was a bit of a win for parents as well. The Education Union late yesterday has called off strike action for this Friday, saying they've got an improved offer on the table from the state government. Here's the Education Union head Andrew Gold on 9 News.
That's off the books. We want time to be able to sit down, analyse the second offer, provide that information to executive. That's going to take a little bit of time. But certainly so that we can continue negotiating, we'll take the industrial action off the table, given that we got an improved second offer today.
So I guess we sit and wait again. Yep. We'll know when there's either a threat of an extra strike or if it all ultimately gets signed off on, which hopefully it does.
I think the government, like Blair Boyer, his comments yesterday, the guy is an eminently reasonable man. In fact, the AEU even said as much themselves. So I think, it's not like the government's playing hardball. The government seems to be quite amenable to cutting a better deal, so the union should act as it now is in good faith.
We've been talking a bit about the Governance Institute Ethics Index for 2023 that's been released. This is based on Ipsos polling, asking people between the ages of 18 and 65, what do you think of these different professions and jobs? And it is comprehensive. You're asked either whether are they very unethical, somewhat unethical, neither ethical nor unethical, somewhat ethical or very ethical. That's the sort of spectrum you're asked. The top 10 occupations, fire services number 1, they've jumped up. So too have ambulance services. Pharmacists have jumped up as well. Nurses have dropped down. I don't know what the nurses did.
What have they done
recently? Nurses dropped down. They were in the number 1 position.
Maybe we had a pathological response, though, after the events of the last 2 years that you now associate nurses with having a paddle pop stick jammed up your nose.
I think that might be part of it.
Is that it?
I think
whilst sitting at behind the wheel of a car.
The bottom 10, in order of the least ethical, according to the respondents, of course, real estate agents, least ethical, then directors of foreign companies operating in Australia, then federal politicians, then state politicians, senior executives, local politicians, chairs of companies.
So local councils are more respected than federal parliament.
Blows my mind.
I wonder if Councillor Bruce Hull's listening.
Chief executive officers and lawyers. Lawyers are only 10th bottom. I think that's...
Are they?
Yeah, they're up.
Sure, that's it.
They gained 3 in their net score, lawyers, so they've had a big year. If you look at the summary of sectors, is interesting because we don't come out particularly well in the media. Dead last. As far as sectors go, the least ethical.
What have we ever done?
Well behind large corporations, behind banking, finance and insurance, behind government. Health was first, education second, not-for-profit charities came in third. And I like this index as well of ethical behaviour. There's another one here that has by organisation. So, payday lenders by organisation, the least ethical. TikTok comes in second last, Facebook third last, Twitter fourth last, Instagram fifth last. Then foreign companies operating in Australia, then journalists. Don't know why journalists are considered an organisation. Life insurance companies, magazines, and federal parliament comes off well on that measure. The top 10, pathology services specialists, very specific. Primary schools, medical charities, social welfare, TAFEs. Big win for TAFEs.
Good.
Public hospitals. The CSIRO came in just ahead of Choice in the top 10 of our most trusted organisations in Australia.
If any real estate agents or used car salesmen or women want to ring in and defend themselves against these egregious slurs, 8223 0000.
If you're a real estate agent that's sometimes been a journalist and loves TikTok, it's a really difficult day for you. You might be the least trusted person in Australia. Hey, there's some news that's come through today. This won't surprise anyone. There has been the next tranche of AFL Grand Final entertainment guests that have been officially announced. Do you want to hazard a guess at who some of them might be?
Well, so far we've got Kiss.
Yeah, none of these ones will surprise you. A lot of repeat.
Is one of them Mike Brady?
One of them is Mike Brady. This will be his 11th grand final. I can't believe it's only 11.
I was going to say, I thought he'd done more than 11.
Yeah.
When up there, Kazali came out in the late 70s.
Another one that gets a run every AFL grand final.
Daryl Braithwaite?
No, not Daryl Braithwaite.
Oh.
You'll hear it right here.
I'm still here.
So Mark Seymour in what will be his 6th grand final, Mike Brady in his 11th, Kate Miller-Heidke will perform the national anthem as well.
That's Mark Seymour solo, not the Hunters and Collectors.
That's right.
Be better if the Hunters went out there and played, I don't know, Say Goodbye or The Slab, some of their early stuff.
Can't convince them to get along. I think Mark Seymour and Mike Brady are on retainer, though.
You don't make me feel like I'm a woman anymore. That's great, that song.
Speaking of AFL Grand Final music, stay listening because very soon your chance to win tickets to AFL Grand Final Day by being able to pick out the songs and artists from AFL Grand Final entertainment of yesteryear. We'll be playing those very, very shortly. First, we're going to check traffic. If you're tired of back pain, it's time to try Kieser, KIESER.com.au.
Thanks, Will. She's looking the goods today, which is fantastic. Northern Connector flowing well. Southern Expressway accident and breakdown free, and the freeway looking the goods too, which is nice. Starting to build. Main North Road at Enfield, also South Road at Fibberton sluggish. Lane closed this morning at Fullerton Road at Glen Osmond Road for works with the Camera Days Road at Ferreton Park. For a little bit of time, get 3 months of Disney Plus for only $13.99. Get it all on Disney Plus. Eligibility criteria and T's and C's apply. Head to disneyplus.com for details. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
1239 South Road, St Mary's. You'll want to remember that address. 1239 South Road, St Mary's. The new showroom of an Adelaide favourite, Bob Burns Blinds. Their gorgeous new showroom has a huge range of blinds, shutters and curtain materials on display. The team at Bob Burns Blinds can't wait to help you create a stunning new look for your home. It's a must-see. The Bob Burns Blinds new showroom at 1239 South Road, St Mary's. See you there.
You can do just about anything online. Shop, meet new friends, watch reruns of your favourite TV shows or movies. But there's one thing you should never do online. And that's your will. From the simplest to the most complex wills and estate plans, Donlan Lawyers can answer your questions and help carry out your final wishes. For wills and estate planning, visit donlanlawyers.com. Hindmarsh Square, Adelaide, and Ocean Street, Victor Harbour.
Now, here's a true SA family business. ASIC Couriers with brothers, sisters, cousins. They're all part of it. But it's not just family they look after, it's the community too.
That's right. Well, not only do they look after your deliveries with a fleet of more than 200 vehicles, but they also look after their community too, supporting more than 25 local sporting clubs.
And that's not all. They also work with and support the Breakthrough Mental Health Research Foundation.
With support from Breakthrough, ASIC Couriers strive for a happy and positive workplace culture, which is probably why they're now the largest courier service in SA.
So whatever you need delivered, don't just send it ASIC with deliveries from ASIC Couriers. When you do, you're helping them support our community.
Are you ready for massive Mazda savings? Mawson Lakes Mazda is having a huge demo clearance across the entire Mazda range. We are overstocked on current model Mazda demos that need to go. So be quick to snap up a demo deal in your favourite model and colour. There is no better time to take advantage of these amazing deals. Be quick, stocks won't last at these prices. Mawson Lakes Mazda, just a short drive from the city, Salisbury Highway.
Rosanna Mangiarelli here from 7 News. Join me and Will Goodings for Adelaide's leading news hour, 7 News, tonight at 6 o'clock.
Breakfast on 5AA. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
Jobs, apprenticeships, traineeships and careers. Maxima can help. Learn more today at maxima.com.au.
21 after 7. Stack of Dutton's tests coming through with a huge range of vehicles available on the hills in Murray Bridge. Dutton's can deliver right now. You can have your say by calling as well on 8223 0000.
One here, Andrew, saying we just have to look at San Francisco to see why rent caps don't work. And one from Andrew in Blackwood saying his faith in real estate agents has been rocked. And he discovered that his block of land on Yorks was sold approximately $20,000 under current market value. Ooh. I should never have listened to the unsolicited financial advice I was given. And one here about the housing fund, who's going to build these homes? I think people want to make a quid by creating investment properties. That's the hope, isn't it?
Yeah, well, hopefully it establishes a pipeline of consistent work for building companies that are all struggling at the moment. So many of them are falling now over at the moment. 22 minutes after 7, we've got these little tickets to give away, grand final tickets. You might be interested in that. Ooh. If you are, get calling right now on 8223 0055. You need an ear for music. Music that's featured at AFL Grand Finals. You need to tell us who these 3 artists and song names are.
And I don't know if I'm just dreaming.
Well, that's hard.
It's a bit tougher today, I reckon.
Yeah,
that is
got
a
the last
bit
one
tougher.
Easily. I think I got the first one.
8223 0055 is the number. Get calling now. First caller through has a crack. If it doesn't go off, we'll go to next hour and someone else will get the chance.
Do we play it twice or just once for now?
Oh, we'll play it for the person who gets through.
Okay.
Play it again. Give everyone another chance to have a listen.
You're a hard taskmaster.
Have a guess. Oh, we can't play it too many times. You know, one of those apps will be able to detect what the songs are.
Oh, yeah. What's it called? I won't say what it's called. Might be steering people in that direction.
Shazam. I don't think it'll have enough. There's not enough music there for it to pick up.
Yeah, right.
Mind you, there's probably some new fandangled AI version.
Have you seen the footage that's emerging of Vlad Putin sitting there with Kim Jong-un?
I haven't seen the footage. Is he on the armoured train?
Unless it's file footage. But the two, don't you reckon if you're Vlad, you'd have a quiet moment of introspection where you just think to yourself, how good am I going that this is my only friend in the world? Apart from that fat bloke in Belarus.
The moment I would have had a bit of a moment of reflection was when I said, okay, so what airport are we picking him up from? And he went, oh, he doesn't fly. He's driving his armoured train at 37 miles an hour into the country. Oh, okay, so how long will that take to get to Moscow? Oh, no, we have to go to Vladivostok.
But it's like something out of Team America. Like they're like two fabricated cartoon villains.
Completely. Terry and Elizabeth Vale's first caller through. Morning, Terry.
Yes, good morning, gentlemen.
How are you, Terry?
I'm fantastic.
Hey, Terry, we'll give you another listen, but based on the first listen, how many do you think you've got all 3?
Well, I actually had the blow of that going at the time.
So you got 0 out of 3.
Yeah, I reckon I might have the first one.
Okay, we'll play it for you again, and then we'll
turn off your Ozito, mate.
We'll get your thoughts.
No worries.
Here we go.
Bit upper class than that, mate, Roby.
Oh, I bet you la-di-da. All right, here we go.
And I don't know if I'm just dreaming.
All right, Terry, take it away.
Angry Anderson, the first one.
What's the song title?
Second one I couldn't work out if it was a girl or not. The last one would be JPY.
Yep.
And the one in the middle, Meatloaf.
We need the song titles as well, Terry.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
So the first, okay, I didn't know that. That's when I had the blow of that going. So the first song was, the last song, no, I can't. Sorry, man. I didn't pay attention to that.
Do you know what we should do, though, Terry? We should cut up our little chat and send it to the people at Ryobi, because that sort of spontaneous publicity, and your sledge on Ozito products. I showed myself as a bit of a casual DIY mentioning Ozito there, didn't I?
Good on you, Terry. Thank you. 8223 0055 is the number to have plugged into your phone. There'll be another chance next hour on the program. 3 songs, 3 artists. You need to name them all, and you can be in the running to win the AFL Grand Final tickets with flights and accommodation. It's all taken care of for you. The weekend of a lifetime. Speaking of Grand Finals, let's talk about the on-field component of this. Warren Tredrea shared his thoughts on Port's loss on the weekend. He did so on the Sports Show last night. Check out the $17 schnitty Monday to Wednesday at the Albion, Birkenhead Tavern, Excelsior and Lighthouse Wharf. You just know it's a Barrow hotel.
They got bashed. Brisbane were tougher. You look at Dunkley's...
So what's broken down, the total team defence or the midfield?
Well, I think it's a combination of both. I thought they were lazy in team defence. How many times did they just let... Brisbane were patient with the footy. They love transition, whether it's quick or slow.
They had 101 marks.
Yeah, what happened? They just... Port go, oh, we'll give him that one.
Which we had to keep him below 75.
We'll give him that one.
Yeah.
Oh, we'll give him that one. All of a sudden, you've lost 60 metres in distance on the ground. You look at the clearances were too different. Contested ball was too different. First quarter... Port got totally outplayed, but they led contested ball by 9, clearances by 2, and tackles by 5.
They were a bit deceiving, those stats.
Exactly, because they're just numbers. And that's where I think Port got exposed, because for the first time in a long time, their 3 guys, as you mentioned, Horne-Francis, Butters and Rosie, weren't dominant.
Well, plenty of time to turn it around on the weekend.
As Dave Lloyd and Tim Jennifer said to us on Monday, no one expected to win that first final.
No.
So nothing, the train is not off the tracks.
No,
You win this week and you're in a prelim. And once you're in a prelim, you need to play 2 hours of good football and you're in a grand final.
I got really good advice when I got that job editing a paper in Sydney, where the guy who hired me sat me down and he said, because I went in one day and I said, God, today's paper was just crap. I made all the wrong calls. I shouldn't have put that on the front. Didn't like the picture on page 3, blah, blah, blah. And he said, mate, never edit yesterday's newspaper. And I thought, yeah. Like, why? I suppose by and by, the most over-analysed field of human endeavour is sport. But the amount of time and intellectual energy that goes on picking apart a game that's occurred as opposed to the one that's coming up.
Yeah, it's a good lesson.
Weird, isn't it?
Good philosophical lesson. Big story in footy tonight will be the tribunal appearance of Braden Maynard. Does he get ruled out for the final series, the grand final and beyond? Mark and Albert Park's called in on this issue. Morning to you, Mark.
Good morning, gentlemen. There's a fair bit of talk about duty of care now. I just thought maybe no one's questioned the Melbourne Football Club with their duty of care, paying a player who's so susceptible now to, well, don't know if it's innocuous, but certainly Brayshaw is susceptible to getting his head knocks. And if that incident hadn't happened when it did, there's every possibility it would have happened later in the game and another player would have been in a similar situation. And it might happen next week, or another player will be in a similar situation. So I just think the AFL and the Melbourne Football Club need to sit down and have a bit of a long, hard talk about this.
I think that's a really good point, Mark, and a point that not enough people have made.
Great call.
And it sort of fits in with the context of the Port dramas earlier this year with Aaliyah, where it's like, well, hang on, the AFL is your employer, but the Melbourne Football Club is his manager. They're the ones who are looking after his well-being.
Mark's point is one that he made so beautifully, because it's something that I've seen and reacted to, but haven't been able to quite put into a coherent thought like Mark just did. They played Port Adelaide this year at Adelaide. Was it GWS? Was it Jesse Hogan that may have been earlier in the year? I don't want to say, because I don't want to impugn someone who doesn't have a long history of head knocks, but there was the most incidental contact. And they went down concussed, clearly concussed.
Yeah, that's right.
It was horrifying to watch. Now, to Mark's point, why is it then on everyone who plays sport in a contact sport with that person to take every care?
Yeah.
What's being done to protect them from themselves? Some of the people you see
Wasn't
now...
it the Sydney player who got knocked out? Who never came back? Never played again.
It was Sydney, you're right.
Yeah, it was the Sydney player. It was McCartan.
It was McCartan, sorry, not Jesse Hogan. It was McCartan.
Where he barely got touched.
Barely
got
lying
touched. There like a little kid. It was terrible.
Those ones are... The way we react to those has now changed. So I guess the AFL's made significant strides in that way. But you just wonder if some needs to be some hard and fast rule about if you've copped this many, there's a number on it. Maybe that's just it for you.
Well... Again, as we were saying yesterday, if you watched the Johnny Platten interview on Sunday night, I think a lot of people would say yes.
Feels like we're getting to that point.
Yeah, and the thing that's going to drive it more than anything is money.
Absolutely.
Because it's a legal issue.
More to talk about on the Sports Show tonight. $17 Schnitty Monday to Wednesday at the Albion Birkenhead Tavern. Excelsior and Lighthouse Wharf, you just know it's a Barrow hotel.
Her mum's on the phone while she's on her skates.
Careful, honey, don't get too close to the road.
She rides from the top of the driveway to test how fast she can go. And suddenly...
Wait, stop!
She's testing your brakes too. Stop and take time to ensure your car stops in time and the brakes are all you hit. Let Automasters test your brakes before someone else does. Call 1300 Automasters.
This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Sunny and 23 with the 7:30 news. I'm Kendall Brettig.
Keep in shape with physio-instructed clinical Pilates and gym classes at 6 locations. physioextra.com.
Tram drivers have called off their planned 24-hour strike today after Torrens Connect put forward a new offer. It means trams will run as normal. Teachers have also pulled the pin on their planned industrial action on Friday after they received a new offer from the state government. The federal government says it'll work closely with the construction sector to get more homes built quickly. Labor has secured the support of the Greens to pass its $10 billion housing fund through Parliament. It's hoped the policy will pay for 30,000 new social and affordable homes. Housing Minister Julie Collins says it's a key part of the government's plan to build more than 1 million new dwellings over 5 years.
We're obviously working and talking to the construction sector. They say the 1 million homes is achievable. What we're doing is incentivising states and territories to change and do some planning and zoning reforms to make sure that we can build additional homes over that 1 million homes.
Police are investigating after 2 cars were destroyed by fire at Salisbury this morning. Senior Constable Peter Squire says they went up in flames in Lode Street just before 3.
MFS crews, they were quickly on scene and they extinguished the blaze. However, the fire did destroy a Fiat hatchback and a Subaru Liberty. Now, the fires are being treated as suspicious and crime scene investigators will be attending to examine the scene this morning. We're just asking anyone who saw or heard any suspicious activity in the street to please contact Crime Stoppers.
Well, the cost of moving SA's police greys is turning out to be a very expensive exercise. And as David Bruce reports, that's not the only problem.
The cost of shifting the mounted police unit to Jepps Cross could be more than $100 million. But the state opposition says worse than that, the relocation would mean it could take up to 50 minutes to get into the city. Assistant Commissioner Noel Bamford has told a Public Works Committee hearing that members of the unit are concerned about the significant delay in response and what impacts that may have on safety. Currently, it takes about 10 minutes to get into the city, where the horses carry out 85% of their duties. But having to float the horses into the city would seriously affect that response time. The Police Association has called on the government to rethink the relocation.
Nurses, doctors and firefighters are considered the most ethical workers by Australians. The Governance Institute's Ethics Index reveals politicians and real estate agents are down the bottom. Chief Executive Megan Motto says frontline workers are the most appreciated in the nation.
They're the people right at the front line of services in Australia. So fireys, ambos, pharmacists, particularly people that are looking after our health, safety and well-being. So they're really seen as very, very ethical.
There are fresh concerns North Korea will offer military resources to the Kremlin to aid in its war in Ukraine. Kim Jong-un is on board his personal armoured train heading towards Russia after being invited for talks with President Vladimir Putin. And comedian Amy Schumer's been accused of cyberbullying Nicole Kidman. She posted a picture on social media of the Australian actress at the US Open, likening her to an alien because of the way she was sitting. She's since deleted the post. Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Get 10-year warranty and 10 years capped price servicing on the new Mitsubishi Outlander at Agostino Mitsubishi.
Here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Kendall. Central Magarey medalist Harry Grant admits it will take some time for the achievement of his medal win to sink in. The 22-year-old polled maximum votes in the final 5 games of the season to win by 3 votes ahead of Norwood's Nick Rokar. He's just the 7th Bulldog to win the award and he admits it's hard to comprehend.
It doesn't feel real. I still don't feel like I should be up there with, Tomo and John Platten and Brad Symes, greats of our club. It just feels like they're still, they're premiership players and stuff like that. It just feels, bizarre at the moment.
Collingwood's Braden Maynard will front the tribunal tonight, while Carlton's Jack Martin will also try to overturn a 2-game suspension. Meantime, Jade Gresham's future at St Kilda is uncertain. Saints coach Ross Lyon has told Fox Footy's AFL 360 they met yesterday during player exit interviews to discuss his future.
Jade and I, we both acknowledge we have a really good relationship. He's a restricted free agent. His manager requested we don't put an offer. We haven't put an offer. And we're aware, and Jade knows we're aware, he's spoken to other clubs, that's the mature bit. Now it's a commercial decision for Jade and the club. He's optimistic and we're optimistic, but where that lands, no one knows.
And French international soccer star Paul Pogba has been provisionally suspended for an anti-doping offence. Italy's National Anti-Doping Tribunal says the Juventus midfielder returned a test with elevated levels of testosterone on August 20. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now to the traffic.
For your chance to win 100k, visit homelottery.com.au before September 15.
Time to get busy on the drive-in today. 5X Drive at Panorama, South Road at Theberton starting to slow. Busy Grand Junction Road at Jepps Cross. And do have a lane closed to look out for this morning at Eastwood Glen Osmond Road near Marquis Street, speeds at 40. Cameras this morning, the North-South Motorway at Bolivar and Port Wakefield Road at Jepps Cross. Win over $817 million in today's USA Power Lotto. Get more zeros in your life with Australia's own lotteryoffice.com.au. Hurry, draw closes in less than 2 hours. Adelaide Smokes, accurate traffic on 5AA.
Can't remember when you had your brakes checked? It's been too long. Call 1300 Automasters now.
Sunny and 23 today, warmer tomorrow, 26, 28 on Thursday, and then sunny on Friday, down to 23. At the moment, 12. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Over 60,000 Adelaide homes have said yes to saving money on their energy bills with Yes, your energy saving solutions. What's keeping you? Did you know that you might be eligible for a rebate on a new appliance like a dryer or fridge? You might even qualify for a purchase you've already made. Just visit the Yes website for a list of appliances and the size of the cashback available. For T's and C's on this unbeatable offer from your energy saving solutions, go to yes.net.au. That's yes.net.au.
The referendum is coming soon. It's important you're enrolled to vote. If you've recently changed your name or address, turned 18 or become an Australian citizen, you must update your details or enrol now. Check your details or enrol online at aec.gov.au or pick up a form from any AEC office and return it this week. When you vote, your answer matters. Enrol or update your details before 8 p.m. on Monday the 18th of September. Authorised by the Electoral Commissioner, Canberra.
Hi, I'm Lynn Andrews. For over 50 years, the Lynn Andrews team have made it easy for landlords to manage residential and commercial property. From single homes to multiple commercial holdings, our passion for property investment means we have a great deal of knowledge. How to do it safely and properly, matching the right tenant with the right property every time. We're here to help you. Visit lynnandrews.com.au.
Her mum's on the phone while she's on her skates.
Careful, honey. Don't get too close to the road. Wait, stop!
Let Automasters test your brakes before someone else does. Call 1300 Automasters.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head to 5AA on Facebook or YouTube.
Breakfast on 5AA. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
Jobs, apprenticeships, traineeships and careers. Maxima can help. Learn more today at maxima.com.au.
21:08, lights streaming through the studio window. Another magnificent Adelaide day on the way. What a beautiful week. Foodland Supermarkets, Facebook and YouTube live stream. If you want to tune in, you can also communicate with us that way or shoot us a text on the Dutton's text line. You can certainly jump on the jury in about 10 minutes' time. We're going to be talking about pet leave. Pet leave. This is the new phenomenon this is private sector workplaces. People negotiating to have, paid parental leave and a bit of pet leave as part of your
pet leave. Hey, no names, no pack drill. I want to hear from Adelaide's vapers. In light of yesterday's announcement by the Health Minister, Chris Picton, and the raids that were conducted, including the one with all the pizza boxes.
Yeah.
Now, I was talking to a friend of mine who shall remain anonymous, who vapes, and he told me that at a number of stores around town, you go and you got any of the nicotine ones still? And they look you up and down, and they go, oh, no. It's like, mate, come on, I'm not a cop. And then they go, yep, I'll be back in a minute. Apparently it's still extremely easy to buy nicotine vapes. Now, I'm not impugning every vape store owner, but the person I was speaking to told me with good authority, whilst having a chuff on a nicotine-impregnated vape, that it is still extremely easy to get nicotine. Now, maybe that's as the ban takes hold, there's a backlog of
Bit of
stock.
residual. Mm.
And they've gone, well, crikey, we bought all this stuff wholesale, we're still going to get rid of it, otherwise we're going to go bust. But whatever the case, apparently extremely easy. Now, vapors, as I said, we don't want to know your names. You're hardly committing a major felony either. But if that aligns with your experience, let us know on the QT.
8223 is the number. Phil Curry from the Australian Furniture Review in Canberra joins us. Phil, good morning. We were talking earlier about the federal government's housing policy, and it felt very much like the Prime Minister needed a win. Well, he got something of a win yesterday.
Yeah, good morning. Yeah, it was a big win and unexpected because the Greens had been, refusing to pass this bill, and they'd kicked it off to some sort of inquiry or something, and it wasn't meant to be looked at again until October, when Parliament resumed again in late October. So obviously some finagling had been done in the meantime, and I think that Greens MP Max Chandler-Mather, who was the one holding out, demanding Albanese sort of magic up a national rent freeze or something like that. I think he got talked down by his colleagues saying, look, we've done pretty well, let's bank the win, and that included another $1 billion from the federal government on top of the two they handed out a couple of months ago straight away to the states to get a start on building public housing. So, but as you said, Albanese did need a win, and that was probably the biggest bit of legislation at the moment they couldn't get through the Senate. So it was a good return home present for him.
Phil, you've just been on that trip. You were in the Philippines, knocking around with your old mate Bong Marcos, and over in India as well.
Get it, India.
Do you thinking back to those trips that we did in the 90s with John Howard and so on? You often get a chance to have a bit of a fireside chat with the PM. I'm not asking you to breach any confidences, but I'm just wondering, do you have any sense as to how the PM, is the PM cognizant of, is the PM aware of, the extent to which he's struggling at the moment with things like The Voice and so forth?
Look, to be honest, I didn't get much time with him on this trip, Dave, because it was just flat out. When you do these summits, you sort of, they're at it all day, so we don't get a lot of downtime with them like we do on a normal trip. A bit of a catch-up, but yes, but at the same time, he's not sort of panicking or anything like that. I mean, clearly, he's disappointed where The Voice is going, I think. He didn't say that, but I think he's a realist. He can read the polls. But, I guess I'll have to deal with that as they do when it, and if and when it goes down, I think he'll just say, look, I stood up for my values, but, the Australians had this, let's move on. He's certainly not going to spend any more time on it. Some people have this theory that if it goes down, they'll then move to do what the coalition wants to do, and that's legislate a voice rather than put in the Constitution. I can guarantee you that's not happening. You'll never hear of it again, especially as we move into next year being an election year. But sort of more generally, they had a bit of a rough week in Parliament last week, Qantas and all those sorts of things, and it was made worse by the fact he was away for half of it and wasn't there. And they're conscious of that, but, at the same time, this trip last week, it was one of the must-do ones. You can't not go to the G20 and the ASEAN summit and things like that. So it was a bit of a poor planning, I think, to schedule Parliament when it was sitting. But look, it's the middle of the term, Dave. Governments always... I wrote a piece last week, went back to sort of Whitlam, and Howard has made this point. All new governments in their first term sort of hit a big hump in about the middle, which is about traditional, but they also go backwards at their next election as well. They never do as well the second time as they do the first time, so which is probably more worrying because they've only got a 3-seat majority. Most new governments have a fairly healthy majority, and they can cop a bit of a...
Well, from memory, didn't John Howard have to sack 4 ministers in conflict of interest scandals in his first term?
Yeah, he had a shocking first term, and he brought in bonds on nursing homes and all sorts of things in it that he flagged the GST, and he nearly very well lost the 98 election. He lost the popular vote. Tim Beazley won the popular vote, but the coalition had, I think, 5 seats they held on by. So, Whitlam, Fraser, Hawke, Rudd, all did the same as well. So that's, I think, the bigger concern. They need to somehow break that trend, because they've only got a 3-seat majority, and the Liberals aren't going to win the next election, but Labor could definitely go into minority, and no one really wants that.
And with the
except Peter Dutton, and the Greens.
And the Teals. Yeah, that's right. Good stuff, mate. Good to have you home, and good luck for the big game coming up this weekend.
Yeah, I'm going Friday night. Jagged a couple of tickets.
Good work.
But as I said, the last time I saw him win live was 1999, so better not bring that curse on Friday night.
No, exactly.
Nothing to lose. I think we'll win easy, actually. Yep.
Good on you, mate. Phil
Hey,
Gurry,
guys.
National Political Editor for the Australian Financial Review.
In the criminal justice system, all defendants are innocent until proven guilty, either by confession, plea bargain, or trial by jury. This is one of those trials.
There's a creeping phenomenon in workplaces around the country called paternity leave or pet-ternity leave, functioning similar to paternity or maternity leave, whereby people can use leave or have a special certain sort of paid leave to do with pet-related issues. Margie Rain from Thinkerbell has a company, they've introduced this, and she says it's now being used more than parental leave.
I think anything that allows you to be who you are, to live your life, and gives you that ability to juggle it all, then I think it can only be, a stickier benefit.
No, I think this is.
I tell you what, in this post-COVID sort of work from home landscape we now occupy, the very idea of having a job seems to be this irritation that gets in the way of your own personal capacity for wellness and growth, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think it's nuts.
Well, why don't we just leave the studio now? I want to go home and hug one of the cavoodles, Will. I'll be back. Well, actually, I won't be back. I need an hour's me time with the cavoodles.
There's an economic argument to be made in support of this, which is that this is what you get with historically low unemployment. When everyone's crying out for work, you can make all sorts of crazy demands and they become normal.
Well, who pays for it, though? The boss?
The boss, the company. Well, they don't have a choice because they want to hire you. So, in a way, wages don't go up. But in lieu of wages increasing,
you've got to
these
go
are the
and
sorts
be with your galah, and some.
Yeah, but this is what happens.
Some galah has to pay for it.
This is what happens when suddenly employees have the bargaining power. So it becomes, your galah's feeling crook or it's having a bad day. You need to go home and hang out with it for a while.
If I was the boss, I'd say, look, you got to choose. It's either me or the cat.
But this is the problem. There's so many people that are saying, come work for us, we'll let you go to the cat. This is the reality. But that said, I was speaking about this with a group of people yesterday, and I was considered some sort of pariah for suggesting that this was an absolute lark. Because they all said, well, it's about time people got to look after their pets are like children. Now,
they're not quite like children. They're animals.
We're asking you this morning for the jury, is paternity leave or pet-ternity leave outrageous or overdue? Outrageous or overdue?
I'm going to shut my mouth. I've already jaundiced the discussion enough.
This is something else. But look, the jury is very rarely unanimous. So give us a call.
I think it's different if you've got to put your dog down or something. And, that's a very sad thing. But, even so, I don't know.
8223 0000 is the number. You can call through to be on the jury this morning. Someone on the jury is going to win a double to see John Williamson. John Williamson in town. Are you going to see him live? One of the 6 odd people on the jury is going to win it, so it's well worth your time to call in. You've got a massive chance of getting along to see the show.
Hey, True Blue.
Outrageous or overdue? Pet being able to take leave for pet-related issues at home. We'll get the jury's verdict in just a moment. Time for traffic. Thanks to Keezer. Tired of back pain? Time to try Keezer. KIESER.com.au.
Thanks, Will. Looking really good for the driving today. No great hassles. Getting busy in the normal spots. FIVEAA Drive at Panorama. Also busy South Road at Theberton. Getting sluggish Grand Junction Road at Jepps Crossing. Got a lane closed this morning at Hindmarch. Park Terrace near 2nd Street. Speeds add 40 k's. Cameras this morning. Addison Road, Pennington and Bridge Road to Salisbury East. The referendum is coming soon. Enrol to vote or update your details by 8 p.m. Monday, September 18 at aec.gov.au. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Need a forklift? Don't just get a forklift, get a Toyota forklift. Toyota is the world's #1 forklift brand with a great range of pallet jacks, walkie stackers and reach forklifts right up to their leading Toyota counterbalance forklifts. Legendary reliability and safety with cleaner, greener electric options, Toyota can tailor the right forklift solution for you. It's all part of the Toyota Forklift Advantage. For more, visit toyotamaterialhandling.com.au. Get a Toyota forklift.
We know how to turn on a light, but sometimes we forget to turn them off once we're in another room. With clever and low-cost home automation from Cosco Energy Group, you'll never have to remember. And paired with clever solar, battery storage and air conditioning solutions, you could also save some serious dollars. Experience the solutions at the Cosco Energy Group's interactive showroom, 336 South Road, Croydon Park. KOZCO, Cosco Energy Group.
Now, are you a cask water drinker? Do you make the regular trek to the shops to haul those heavy boxes home?
Oh, yeah, don't do that wobbly walk trying to balance 10 odd kilos on one side with your groceries on the other.
No, and don't just worry about that. What about the cost? Because a cask of water can set you back $5 or more, last maybe a week at home or in the office if you're lucky, and it adds up to hundreds of dollars over the year.
Yeah, help your back and your back pocket. If you want clean, refreshing drinking water without the hassle, switch to PuriTap. Once you're all set up, it's about $6 a month to maintain. And for that, you get unlimited fresh, clean drinking water on tap.
So don't waste time, plastic and money on cask water and bottles. Get the taste without the waste and switch to PuriTap.
It's easy to get set up and you won't believe the price because they're on sale right now with PuriTap's spring sale.
Switch and save today. Give PuriTap a call on 133 502. That's 133 502.
Speak with One Solution and they'll tell you cybercrime is not a big business problem, a government problem or a small enterprise problem. It's everyone's problem. Ransomware, malware and adware remain the #1 threat. One call to One Solution will put your business in a safe place. It's the smartest, most cost-effective business decision you'll ever make. Get in touch with One Solution, winner of the National Telstra Customer Experience Award. onesolution.net.au.
If you need to fix your pipes, call Precise. Call Precise. If your toilet's blocking up, call Precise. Call Precise. If your lights aren't turning on, or your hot water is gone, or a plumber or electrician, call Precise. Precise.
Precise Plumbing and Electrical. Call 1300 700 200. That's 1300 700 200. Precise Plumbing and Electrical. On time, on budget, on the job.
Or a plumber or an electrician, call Precise. Call Precise.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head to 5AA on Facebook or YouTube.
Breakfast on 5AA. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
If you're living with a disability, injury or health condition and looking for work, visit maxima.com.au.
In the criminal justice system, all defendants are innocent until proven guilty, either by confession, plea bargain, or trial by jury. This is one of those trials.
A lot of talk about collective bargaining agreements at the moment with the Education Union and the trams. This one comes to us from the private sector, though. The paternity leave or paternity leave. If your pet requires some sort of assistance, it's built into your pay package that you can take paid leave. Is this outrageous or overdue, this new development? The jury are going to assess, and someone on the jury is going to win John Williamson tickets. Don't miss John Williamson, True Blue himself, and Her Majesty's Theatre on Saturday, October 14. You get tickets now at Ticketek. Juror number 1, what say you?
Well, I'll tell you what you can do. You can cut this behaviour out. You can go to your room and have a think about what you're doing, because this is ridiculous.
Thank you, juror number 1. Juror number 2, good morning.
Morning. Now, I'm a farmer. I've got 5,000 head of sheep. I'm not going to work for 12 years.
You've got it made, juror number 2.
Yeah.
I'll be in sometime in 2036.
So what are you saying, outrageous or overdue?
Absolutely bloody outrageous.
Thank you, juror number 2. Juror number 3, what say you?
Oh, look, the work ethic of these young guys is ridiculous, outrageous.
Thank you, juror number 3. Juror number 4, good morning.
Good morning, how are you?
Good, thanks, juror.
Good, yeah, I reckon it's overdue because many years ago we had a dog and it passed away and unexpectedly I had a week off, so I reckon it's overdue.
All right, thank you, juror number 4.
Terribly sad.
Juror number 5, good morning.
Yeah, good morning. Look, on face value, it seems outrageous, but I think if it's part of your normal allocated leave for the year and it's not extra, it's just another reason to be to be honest with your employer. If people have pets and they pass away and it does, or they're sick, and it does take some effort to look after them. And if you can do that and tell the truth at the same time, I think it's just another reason but it's not extra allocated leave. It's just part of your normal allocation.
That's an even-handed and mature approach.
Yeah.
Just I suppose
Like
people
it.
would take sickies before something like this.
Yeah.
Juror number 6, good morning.
Good morning. I think it's David G. I've had some unfortunate incidents where pets have passed away. One time, a cockatiel of mine got eaten by my brother's dog.
Oh, no.
Another time this year, a cat, we had a fire at our house, passed away underneath our bed, so I wasn't able to take some time off. So, yeah, it's a bit unfortunate on both occasions. I was at work on both occasions as well, so it would have been nice to...
Thank you, Juror number 6. Juror number 7, good morning.
Morning. I think the world's in a bad enough state now without this. Oh, my gosh. Outrageous.
Thank you, Juror number 7. Good, strong verdict. Juror number 8, good morning.
Yeah, definitely outrageous, mate. If we're going to have something, we should have sporternity.
Now you're talking. Sporternity leave. What happens if the World Cup's on and it's in France or something and the time difference means it's hard to go to work?
Definitely.
Or equally, what about, say, like the Monday after the 2017 Grand Final, when Will and I, we had to come back to work and come on air and talk for 3 hours. I didn't want to talk to anybody.
Sporternity leave.
I was in
we're talking
an extended period of grief after what happened at the MCG that day. I was a broken shell of a man.
Not fit for working.
I was weeping openly at the end
Juror
of that
number
game.
8 has valuated this entire experience. I like that.
Sporternity
leave. Who wins the John Williamson tickets?
Juror number 7, the older lady who we can't reveal her name, obviously, but the woman who said.
Juror number 7.
Outrageous.
You're off
I
to
love
see
that.
John Williamson, True Blue at Her Majesty's Theatre, Saturday, 14th of October. If you'd like to get along, head to Ticketek.
And we will also extend our sympathies to the chap who lost his cockatiel and give him a FIVEAA breakfast cup.
Absolutely.
As our gesture of condolence.
All right, it's time for John Blake, thanks to Aussie Fast Transport Solutions, Interstate Freight Distribution, Warehousing and Local Adelaide Couriers. Call Aussie Fast 13 13 64.
Yes, Steph.
Good morning, Premier. The Minister for Transport is here to see you.
Okay, send him in.
Will do. You can go in, Minister. Oh, please call me Tom, Stephanie. No, Minister. Why not call me Tom? It brings me closer than I care to be. You can go in. I'm a big fan of yours too, Stephanie. Whatever.
Come in, Tom.
Hello, come here, Peter.
G'day, Tom.
Boy, are we getting hammered.
Hammered how?
Well, you're getting hammered because the voice referendum is getting hammered and you've already installed a voice and people don't like it.
Oh, people have short memories.
Oh, yeah, but the people have journalists like David Penberthy who has a memory like a pachyderm and it'll come back to bite you.
Whatever.
You're also getting hammered because of the bloke you employed to be your advisor for $60,000 for 13 days' work.
It's not for 13 days' work, it's for a full year.
Yes, but if you break it down it turns out... Anyway, it doesn't matter, you're still getting beaten up.
That's all very interesting, but I'd much rather hear how you're getting beaten up.
Oh, well, this bloody Harndorf truck bypass is a nightmare. You try to do the right thing and make things easier for people, and the people who aren't the people that you're trying to help are the people who yell and scream and ring talkback radio and call you a nitwit.
You can't please everybody all the time, Tom.
No, but you can ignore all of the people all of the time, and wouldn't that be a good idea?
Great idea. I should have made you my advisor.
Now all the truckies hate me, and I'm the Transport Minister.
Whoops.
It's not fair. I was just trying to make the main road of Harndorf better by getting rid of the trucks.
Did you ask the truckies?
Of course I didn't ask the truckies. What have they got to do with it? They don't work in the main street of Harndorf.
Oh.
They just drive down it and disrupt all the stuff.
You can't disrupt the stuff.
Too bloody right.
Yep.
But I suppose when I think about it, it's better to have just the truckies hate me than potentially everybody hating me.
What do you mean?
Well, you're the Premier, Peter, and ultimately, whatever happens, it's your fault.
Yeah, that's a fair point. And I have an idea as to how to get the truckies on side.
Really? Well, I would appreciate some help if you've got some thoughts on the subject, Premier Peter.
Yes, all I have to do to get them to like me is fire you.
Oh, great. Oh, very funny.
Who said I was joking? Catch ya.
5AA News in a moment, breaking 8 next.
Back in 2010, we all thought the price of a solar battery would come down. Truth of the matter is, it hasn't. But electricity is now a lot more expensive. I'm a big supporter of solar and always recommend NRG. When it comes to solar batteries, NRG won't be beaten on price, offering a 10-year warranty, blackout protection, and a battery and consumption monitoring app. Enjoy the feeling and the benefits of owning a solar battery sooner. Visit nrgsolar.com.au.
Online, on DAB Digital Radio, and on 1395 AM. Talking Adelaide. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Sunny and 23 with the 8 o'clock news. I'm Kendall Brettig.
Physio Extra, keeping you healthy. Marion, Pirie Street, Norwood, Hallett Cove, Seaford and Victor Harbour. PhysioExtra.com.
Trams are operating as normal today after strike action was called off by drivers. David Bruce has more.
A stoppage of Adelaide's tram network would have caused commuter chaos today, but discussions yesterday between the union and Torrens Connect were promising enough for the industrial action to be scrapped, at least for the time being. The union's Darren Phillips says workers recognise the dispute is frustrating for commuters, and they've decided to call off the industrial action while they consider a new offer. Meanwhile, Friday's planned teachers' strike has also been called off. Education Minister Blair Boyer says negotiations between the government and the teachers' union have been positive. A revised offer has been sent to the union, and he's hoping a second day of strike action can be avoided.
Advocates are welcoming plans to build more social and affordable homes after the federal government secured support for its housing legislation. Labor and the Greens have struck a deal to pass the $10 billion fund. Community Housing Industry Association Chief Wendy Hayhurst says the plan to build 30,000 new homes is an important step.
It's a reasonable amount if you consider that really we've only been building 3,000 or 4,000 social and affordable housing units over the last few years. So on top of what the state's doing as well, it's definitely a move in the right direction.
While Australians on lower incomes are facing higher living costs, according to a new report, Anglicare's found they're paying 10% more on fuel due to less efficient cars. Executive Director Casey Chambers says there are also disparities in insurance premiums.
We looked at what it would take to insure exactly the same car in Mount Druitt and in Mossman. And we found an actual, it really shocked me, a 61% difference. So it would cost you 61% more to insure exactly the same car in Mount Druitt.
Crime scene investigators have been called in after 2 car fires at Salisbury early this morning. A Fiat hatchback and a Subaru Liberty were set alight in Lode Street just before 3. Both have been destroyed. A toddler has suffered serious lower body injuries after a dog attack in regional Victoria. It's understood the boy was in his backyard yesterday afternoon when he was attacked by a dog from a neighbouring property. He's been flown to a Melbourne hospital in a stable condition. The dog has been seized. International search and rescue teams are helping find survivors of a deadly earthquake in a remote mountainous area of Morocco. Edward Godfrey says it comes as the death toll passes 2,800.
We've spent a second day in Morocco's Atlas Mountains near the epicentre of this earthquake, visiting villages that have been so devastated by the quake. We've also visited the first military hospital set up near the epicentre, which has already treated hundreds of patients since opening just hours ago. Some of the patients that came in while we were there had serious injuries, others were suffering trauma. Some had been injured for days but couldn't be reached or even found. And we spoke with one man who suffered a head injury while trying to get his family out of his home as it came down around them. Unfortunately, he was successful. The searching continues for survivors in many of the villages in this region, but the window is rapidly closing. International assistance teams have arrived, but the death toll continues to climb. It's past 2,700, and it's still unclear exactly how many people are missing. But despite all the hardship and the heartache here, this community spirit remains strong.
New research shows Australians are eating an average of 28 serves of junk food a week. The CSIRO looked at the diets of 235,000 adults over a 7-year period. Alcohol, cakes, biscuits, chocolate and takeaway food are among the biggest contributors to unhealthy habits. Now turning to FIVEAA Sport.
Get 10-year warranty and 10 years capped price servicing on the new Mitsubishi Outlander at Agostino Mitsubishi.
Here's Tom Wren.
Thanks, Kendall. 41st and central midfielder Harry Grant has won this year's McGarry medal and in doing so becomes the first Bulldog to win the award since Brad Symes back in 2012. In the AFL, Port Adelaide's got some big selection headaches to ponder ahead of Saturday night's semi-final clash against GWS at Adelaide Oval. Todd Marshall, Dylan Williams, Xavier Dersma and Trent McKenzie have all been in for scans, while Charlie Dixon is pushing to return after failing to play since round 20. Meantime, Collingwood's Braden Maynard is set to front the tribunal tonight for his smother-turned-bump that left Angus Brayshaw badly concussed. Well, AFL and AFLW players are set to vote on a massive new pay deal. Kiara Parker reports.
The league's male and female players will vote on a landmark deal worth more than $2.2 billion over 5 years after a major breakthrough in collective bargaining talks. The AFL Players Association is expected to take the proposed agreement to its players for a vote this week. The Age reports the deal would ensure significant increases in the salary cap for male players and that the minimum annual salary for AFLW players would reach $70,000 by 2026. A major sticking point in the negotiation has also been overcome with an increase in the number of women's games in a season, and for the men not allowing players to be traded without their consent.
Australia will look to wrap up its one-day series against South Africa tonight when the two sides meet in Game 3 of their best-of-5 series. The Aussies currently lead that series 2-0. Meantime, Alyssa Healy will be a Sydney Sixer for life after signing a 3-year extension with the WBBL club. And one game to wrap up week 1 of the NFL season this morning with the Buffalo Bills set to take on the New York Jets. And that's the FIVEAA Sport.
Now checking FIVEAA traffic.
For your chance to win $100K, visit homelottery.com.au before September 15.
Getting busy in the usual spots this morning. 5-West Drive at Panorama, South Road at Theberton. Also Brighton Road at Glenelg East started to build as well, just near Cliff Street there. Got lane closed at Hindmarch, Park Terrace near 2nd Street, speeds at 40. And look out for cameras this morning, Grey Terrace, Rosewater and the Port River Expressway at Wingfield. It's $2 Tuesday at OTR. Get a delicious banana bread for only $2. That's too good to pass up. Today only at OTR. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Can't remember when you had your brakes checked? It's been too long. Call 1300 Automasters now.
A sunny day heading for 23, warmer tomorrow 26, up to 28 on Thursday and then sunny for Friday 23. At the moment 17. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Hi, I'm Lynn Andrews. For over 50 years we, the Lynn Andrews team, have specialised in commercial and residential property management. But above all, we specialise in people, helping to make life easier for investors and tenants. Everyone is treated with empathy and respect. It's the way we do business. It's the Lynn Andrews way. For residential and commercial property management, we're here to help you. Visit lynnandrews.com.au.
Now let's see what's in the swear jar at Buy Urban Bathrooms and Kitchens.
Oi, that's a cookie jar.
Oh, busted. My mistake. Let's see. Here it is. Here's one from Renette, an interior designer at Buy Urban for over 20 years. Renette swears to ensure your dream bathroom becomes a wonderful reality. For a team that swears to deliver on quality and service, see Buy Urban Bathrooms and Kitchens, Adelaide's home renovation experts. Wouldn't mind a cookie.
Over 60,000 Adelaide homes have said yes to saving money on their energy bills with Yes, your energy saving solutions. What's keeping you? Your energy saving solutions can connect you with the SA government initiative called REPS. To save money on heating this winter, Yes is offering eligible households a 2.6 kilowatt Rinnai system for only $699. For T's and C's on this unbeatable offer from Your Energy Saving Solutions, go to yes.net.au. That's yes.net.au.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head to 5AA on Facebook or YouTube.
It's a beautiful day.
Breakfast on 5AA. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
If you're living with a disability, injury or health condition and looking for work, visit maxima.com.au.
8:09, breaking 8 coming up in just a moment. The Education Minister, Blair Boyle, will join us, hopeful of a breakthrough in negotiations with the AEU, calling off strike action late yesterday that was planned for Friday because of a new offer that was put. We'll get a sense of how close they might well be to a deal with the Minister very, very shortly. The other exciting news, if you're just joining us, is that the AFL ticket competition for this morning didn't go off last hour. We had a caller through who wasn't able to identify the 3 artists and 3 songs from grand finals of yesteryear. So we'll play it again and give you another chance over the course of this hour to go in the running to win those tickets for that ultimate experience. It includes flights and accommodation for AFL Grand Final weekend. Stay listening, that's not far away.
Well, the seemingly never-ending saga over the mounted police and their location as a result of the construction of the new Women's and Children's Hospital is about to take another turn. Now, in the last 24 hours, all of the attention has been over the Jeps Cross headquarters. Well, we understand the following, and it comes from a good source inside the courts. The Supreme Court administration is refusing to release land at the rear of the Supreme Court building, meaning that the promised staging area will no longer be possible. Now, we're not sure what the reasoning is by the courts. Maybe they need this land for their own future expansion. But we understand, and we expect it to be confirmed at some stage this week, that the Courts Administration Authority are saying that the land that is designated in the current plans for the city staging site will not be made available, and that means that SAPOL are now going to have to look for another suitable staging area after it appears that the state government has effectively wiped its hands of this issue, and it will also mean that the mounted unit will be severely restricted in their capacity to provide a service in the central business district of Adelaide. So yet again, with the cost overruns we're now hearing about at Jeps Cross, $100,000, it was revealed yesterday. You've got the northern end of the project coming under fire quite validly from police themselves. Now the city base being held up on account of the court saying, no, you're not having the land. It's a complete shambles at both ends.
This is a farce. What a farce.
See, I actually think it's got to the point. The thing that made Peter Malinauskas Premier is his capacity to show leadership.
Yep.
He played Stephen Marshall off a break over COVID. He said, I'm chairing the committee. I'm the boss. That's why the AHA loved him. That's why the NBA loved him. Why every key business group in the state went, this guy's here to make decisions. With Gather Round, he went, I'm having a crack at this. I'm making this my own thing. I'm going to ring Gil McLachlan. I'm going to pester him until we win it. And then when we get the first Gather Round, I'm going to use that weekend to cuddle up to him even more, lock it away for 4 years. When Liv rang, he went, yep, we're doing that. We're doing that for South Australia.
We're bringing back the V8s. I don't care what the committee says.
That's right. Well, where is he on this? And frankly, I think the police commissioner, in the midst of major criticism from city workers, city businesses about the level of crime, I think Grant Stevens got better things to do with his time than hold endless meetings poring over a map of suburban Adelaide trying to find a place to put a bunch of horses.
How can it be in a scenario where inevitably someone is going to be inconvenienced, okay? It's either going to be in the parklands, it's going to be reduce someone's amenity to a rare butterfly that's in no danger whatsoever, or it's going to be behind the Supreme Court building. How can it be that it seems everyone's satisfied that the only party that everyone's happy to be inconvenienced is actually the police?
Good point.
So no one else can be inconvenienced by this decision except the people who it affects the most. I mean, isn't that patently ludicrous?
Maybe there's an architectural challenge here too, in the same way that the Children's Hospital in Melbourne incorporates animals from the Melbourne Zoo.
Yes.
Maybe we need to get the world's smartest architectural minds to work out how you can create a new children's hospital that's got a bunch of horses out the back. Because it's looking like every other option other than the current one is doomed. It really is a total shambles.
It makes you despair. 14 after 8, let's talk about some good news for parents who were staring down the barrel of another day with kids at home and not in the classroom with purported strike action for Friday. That was called off yesterday with the new offer put by the state government to the Education Union. The Education Minister, Blair Boyer, joins us on 5AA Breakfast. Minister, good morning to you.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
We started the show, Minister, by commending the AEU for walking back from the brink. Do you think that they'll stay there? Do you think you can pull this off?
Listen, I have a renewed sense of optimism about where the negotiations are heading, let me say that. We have stayed at the table, both parties, the whole time, which is good. So, the negotiations haven't at any stage broken down. But I think the events of yesterday show that we are much closer than we were. And I, commend the AEU leadership on making good on the commitment they gave that if the government did provide another offer to them in a timely way, they would, pull back from that industrial action plan on Friday, which is good. And I'm hoping now we're at a point where we can just get down to a bit more of the nitty-gritty in the agreement and hopefully sooner rather than later strike a final agreement and be past this and give teachers a pay rise and a workload reduction and parents out there won't have to worry anymore about pending industrial action.
Minister, has the union given you any indication to that point that industrial action from this point is now off the table, or is it just off the table for this Friday?
Listen, I think it's off the table for this Friday, but they always reserve the right to use that option. So I don't think I've been given any undertaking of a longer time period than that, but certainly the comments that the union leadership made both to us yesterday and then publicly to the media, I think, show that we are at a much, much better point. So I'm hoping if things can continue in this vein, there won't be the need for any more industrial action at all. So I'm as confident as you can be, I guess I'm saying, at this point. And I think some of the bigger items that we've been talking about, including on your program, we're closer to agreeing on those, the trickier bits. The union have said salary is still an issue, so we're going to have to get back to the table and talk about that. But hopefully around issues of workload and some other things, including some things that don't actually come at a cost, I think we've made real progress.
Is one of the big sticking points still the demand for a 20% reduction in teaching time and how the government would have to deal with that in terms of getting more teachers into the system, Minister?
We've got that a long way down now, I can tell you pleasingly, in terms of, and I'm not saying that we're at a final agreement now on that, but the current offer put by the government was around a 1 hour increase a week of non-instructional time, which is a long, long way from the 20%, that's for sure. When we said that we couldn't agree to that and we wouldn't. So I'm really pleased the union showed a willingness to move on that. So
you said 1 hour, meaning 1 hour how?
Oh, so, well, to deliver that, it wouldn't be a reduction in the time that students get at school, of course, because we wouldn't agree to that. We would be phasing it in, and you have a teacher to backfill that teacher. So it's a staffing arrangement. So the teachers get an extra hour of non-instructional time to do some of the admin and other things that they have to do. And I've always said that has certainly seen a growth in that over the years in terms of what teachers are expected to do, but it won't come at the cost of a young person's education.
Minister, have you acquiesced to a request about some sort of disconnection time where teachers won't need to answer phones or emails or so forth? They're technically off the grid. Is that the case?
Well, what we've said is that we were looking in enshrining in this enterprise agreement, should it be a final version agreed to have a clause there which protects staff from being asked to do duties which could be quite easily done the next day at home at night, over the phone or things like that. And New South Wales and a few other jurisdictions have just put something similar in. It is, a product of the society that we live in now, I'm afraid, and it was put clearly to us by the union. It's something I hear from teachers a lot, that because they have mobile phones and email, there is the expectation now that they be reachable 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and it's just about putting some protections in there for staff to be able to push back when it's appropriate and say, actually, these are things that could wait until the school day tomorrow, and I don't need to be replying tonight. It's often, I think, to be honest, around replying to parents is what I pick up on from principals, particularly, and some schools have already got sort of communication plans in place at their schools where they encourage parents to try to not be communicating with teachers. It might be through the apps that schools use, for instance. There's apps like Class Dojo, and encouraging staff not to reply late at night, for instance, and building up that expectation that parents can reach them at any time.
Yeah, 100%. Hey, Minister,
I get it. It's strange, isn't it? It's a strange thing of our modern society. I understand people would struggle to grapple with it, but it all adds up to the workload kind of pressures that staff in lots of different areas are feeling.
Absolutely. Hey, Minister, just quickly, before we let you go, we're having a bit of a chat after 8:30 about vaping. Has vaping become a behavioural challenge in the education system, and is this one of the reasons why we've seen this state government crackdown on it?
Of the things that keep me awake at night, David, vaping is right at the top of the list, and has been from the first day in this job for me. It's a huge problem, and it's one that our leaders at schools particularly, because they're the ones who are often stuck dealing with it, are really grappling with on a day-to-day basis. And I always think back to I finished high school in 1999. There was no vaping, there was no mobile phones, and there was no social media. We've got all those things now, and in one way or the other, they all end up being heaped on the plate of principals and teachers and school staff to deal with. And vaping is a really difficult one, because in some schools we are putting in vaping detectors. They work well to get kids out of sort of the washroom area, because otherwise some kids feel uncomfortable going in there to use the amenities, but that just pushes the problem somewhere else. It doesn't actually solve the problem at the root cause. Yeah,
absolutely. Education Minister Blair Boyer, thanks very much for joining us this morning on 5AA.
Thanks, gentlemen.
1999 he finished school. Spring chicken.
Blair Boyer, you're above me. Gun basketball.
Seriously?
Yeah, really good.
Did he go to your school?
No. I think he went. I can't remember which school he went to, but I remember he was a quality basketball player.
You know everyone's basketball stats, don't you?
Not everyone. Not everyone. Let's check traffic. I want to reveal to you what I think is the runaway winner for the most bad taste idea of 2023 after the break. It comes to us from the United States. Keezer, tired of back pain? Time to try Keezer, KIESER.com.au.
Thanks, Will. Getting busy in the usual spots today. FIVEAA Drive at Panorama. Also Marion Road at the Anzac Highway intersection. Sluggish, Brighton Road at Glenelg East. Lane closed at Hindmarsh this morning to look out for. Park Terrace near 2nd Street. Speeds at 40. And the ever-pesky camera is around. Great Terrace, Rosewater and Port River Expressway at Gilman. The referendum is coming soon. Enrol to vote or update your details by 8 p.m. Monday, September 18 at aec.gov.au. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Rowie and Timmy G on the 5AA Sports Show.
How are you, buddy? Because you carry these losses with the whole weight of the world on your shoulders.
Look, very much so.
Because you care, Timmy G.
Yeah, it's all about the care. A little numb still, and it's probably in the way we lost. We were comprehensively beaten.
Rowie and Timmy G.
So what went wrong?
The old story, weren't good enough, no excuses.
Your midfield's not getting it done.
Yeah.
That tells me your midfield stunk.
4 p.m. weekdays on 5AA.
Speak with One Solution and they'll tell you cybercrime is not a big business problem, a government problem or a small enterprise problem. It's everyone's problem. Ransomware, malware and adware remain the number one threat. One call to One Solution will put your business in a safe place. It's the smartest, most cost-effective business decision you'll ever make. Get in touch with One Solution, winner of the National Telstra Customer Experience Award. onesolution.net.au.
Babe, why is there a boat in our driveway?
Yes.
And new golf clubs in the laundry?
Right, well...
And do you know anything about a holiday booking in the Maldives?
Yeah, babe.
Did we win the lottery?
Babe.
Did you get a promotion?
Babe.
Oh no, you're having a midlife crisis.
Babe, chill. I went to Cosco Energy Group.
Cosco?
Yeah, KOZCO. They've installed a new solar system on the roof, so now we're saving on power.
Cosco Energy Group, the experts at reducing your power costs. Cosco.com.au. Babe, why is there a motorbike helmet on the table?
It's one of the hardest and most complex decisions you can make, deciding on the future well-being of your parents.
Thankfully, you can find all the info you need in the one handy place in the 2023 Aged Care Guide.
It's absolutely free, and you'll find information on all aged care homes, home care providers, placement consultants, my aged care information, including financial individual support services to get you a better understanding of costs.
Plus a comprehensive list of providers of these services to enable you to choose the best provider that suits your situation.
Other features include types of care available, the ins and outs of short-term care, applying for funding and much more. For your free copy of the 2023 Aged Care Guide, call 1300 186 688 to have it delivered free to your door. That's 1300 186 688.
Dad's home! Hi, Dad! Daddy!
Kids, exciting news. You know that pool we've always dreamed about getting?
Yeah, a new pool!
Well, we've had an even better idea. We're getting a new driveway instead. From Adelaide Exposed Concrete.
Yes! Woo! We're getting a driveway! We're getting a driveway! Can we invite our friends over to play on it?
You sure can.
Adelaide Exposed Concrete. Best on ground all year round.
Rosanna Mangiarelli here from 7 News. Join me and Will Goodings for Adelaide's leading news hour, 7 News, tonight at 6 o'clock.
Breakfast on 5AA. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
Jobs, apprenticeships, traineeships and careers. Maxima can help. Learn more today at maxima.com.au.
Time to talk movies. They're better at Wallace Cinemas, SA's home of big screen magic and entertainment. Visit wallace.com.au. This might be our most anticipated movie review of all time. Luce, good morning.
Good morning.
Don't want to hype it up too much, Luce. You've been completely sort of unreadable, inscrutable this morning when I've asked you off air about how you went watching Die Hard.
Die Hard. Here we go. I put this film into the escapist fun category.
Good.
Obviously, it is totally unbelievable as a plot, but I did really enjoy it. Definitely, it has its fair share of bloody moments and blasted bodies. Again, didn't mind that. Alan Rickman, of course, as the ruthless Hans Gruber, was wonderful, and he managed to master an Englishman who then swapped between German and American accents. Bruce Willis had that pursed lip, always stressed facial expression for the 2 hours and 12 minutes, which I thought was fair enough given his circumstances, and his banter, his scripting was excellent. I really loved the limo driver and Sergeant Al. Is it a Christmas movie?
Ah, yes.
We'll have this conversation later, else we'll run out of time, but I am already preparing a side of that debate.
Oh, okay.
For anyone that would like to have it, I am open to debating whether it is or it isn't. Out of 5, what do you reckon I'm going to give it?
I reckon you're going to give it 4.
3.5.
I'm giving it 4.
Wow! 4!
On your Luce.
That puts it among the best films you've ever seen.
Yeah, it's not. It's within the top 7, I reckon. I think there are about 7 films between 4 and 4.5 stars. So
okay.
It's in my top 7.
But logically, of its genre.
Oh, it's a great film.
Yeah, that's a good score.
Purely a great film. Will I watch it 20 times like you thought I would? No, probably not. But I would watch it again one day. Here's one scene I picked. I don't think there's swearing in it.
Oh, you don't think? Well, now I'm nervous.
Welcome to the party, pal!
So some guns, some shooting, some blasting. That's when Bruce Willis throws one of the German terrorists off the out of the window onto the police car because the police are thinking, oh, there's nothing to see here. So he shoots at the car and then throws down that dead body onto the car and then yells at Sergeant Al, welcome to the party, pal.
Superb.
How well-rounded are the characters in it? Like, what about Ellis, the cokehead executive who's trying to cut the deal?
The bit when he's negotiating with Hans Gruber, I was like, we can all see where this is going.
Am I right? And
Come on, spare me my life.
Uncannily like Donald Trump Jr. Next time you see Trump's son, just think of Ellis. But you're right about the cop. Because it's sort of a buddy movie in a way.
But I liked that they didn't meet right up until the very end, but they didn't have to say any words about it. They just stood and pointed at each other, and then they had a cute little hug. And then he kills the other bad guy.
Yeah.
So I don't want to spoil it for people who haven't seen it.
There's brilliant little moments in it too, like when McClane is talking to Al and he goes, "You got kids?" And you just sort of gets this sort of like manly warmth between them, and then he says, "Oh, my wife's expecting."
For sure. And the other one when he says, "This is my wife, Holly Gennaro," and she says, "No, I'm Holly McClane." So she takes back her married name and Lots of nice little moments. I've just found out, though, that...
When he's looking at the names on the board and he's looking for McLean and it's not there.
And he's absolutely shocked.
Yeah,
The first German guy he killed, the blonde guy, is apparently a professional ballet dancer.
Really?
I believe. I just did a quick bit of research then, and I believe the first one who's flailing about with a gun is actually a professionally trained ballet dancer.
Superb. Yeah, it's great range.
4
as they
stars
say in
for Die
acting
Hard.
circles.
If anyone wants to debate the Christmassiness of it, give me a ring.
All right. Thank you, Luce.
Excellent.
You can contact Luce on 8223 0000.
Brilliant.
5AA News is coming up.
Made my morning.
Behind closed doors and more next.
Thinking of getting a solar battery? Well, sadly, they're not going to get cheaper like we thought 10 years ago. But the ability to pay them off is incredibly easier now than it was back then. I recommend getting in touch with NRG Solar to get a battery for your home with a 10-year warranty, blackout protection that will save you thousands of dollars, all visible on a simple-to-use app. Enjoy the feeling and benefits of owning a solar battery sooner. Visit nrgsolar.com.au.
It's easy to get behind the wheel of a new Mawson Lakes Volkswagen right now. In fact, it's ridiculously easy. All you need to do is head to the showroom on Salisbury Highway. Check out the range of new and demo Volkswagens on sale now, and then pick your favourite. How easy is that? All stock is ready for immediate delivery, with easy finance options available. And remember our next day servicing. Mawson Lakes Volkswagen, Salisbury Highway, just a short drive from the city.
This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Sunny and 23 with the 8:30 news. I'm Kendall Brentig.
Keep in shape with physio-instructed clinical Pilates and gym classes at 6 locations. physioextra.com.
An American explorer has been rescued from inside a cave in southern Turkey after he became stranded hundreds of metres underground. 40-year-old Mark Dickey suffered severe gastrointestinal bleeding while inside the Morka sinkhole earlier this month. He's told reporters he's relieved to be out so he can get treatment.
The only feeling that I think I have is this curve of will I live. It's like, this isn't that serious, I'm not going to die, this is okay, like I've got some blood going on here.
We're being assured construction backlogs won't stand in the way of planned nationwide housing targets. Zach De Silva has details.
Labor has secured the support of the Greens to pass its $10 billion housing fund through Parliament. But some economists say supply chain issues could scuttle the government's broader plan to build more than 1 million new dwellings. Federal Housing Minister Julie Collins is confident the issue can be resolved.
We anticipate that towards the end of this year, early next year, that the sector will have capacity.
The opposition's Michael Sukkar doesn't support Labor's approach, arguing it does little to help first home buyers.
I think this government's waved the white flag on home ownership.
The building industry is also concerned the government's IR reforms could increase pressure on the sector.
Strike action has been averted on 2 fronts this week. A 24-hour tram strike scheduled for today was called off yesterday afternoon so drivers can consider a new pay offer from Torrens Connect. While teachers who were threatening to walk off the job on Friday have halted their industrial action after positive talks with the state government. 2 cars have been destroyed by fire at Salisbury early this morning. Just before 3, fire crews were called to Lode Street after 2 cars were set alight. They destroyed a Fiat hatchback and a Subaru Liberty. The fires are being treated as deliberately lit. Crime scene investigators are attending the scene this morning. From New York City to small towns, the US has marked 22 years since the 9/11 terror attacks. More from US correspondent Alison Petrowski.
The largest ceremony was at the World Trade Center Memorial, where families of the victims gathered alongside US Vice President Kamala Harris and former New York City Mayor Rudy Giuliani. Several moments of silence took place to mark when the 2 planes hit the Twin Towers, when the Pentagon was attacked, and when Flight 93 was hijacked. The names of the near 3,000 men, women and children killed in the 2001 attacks were read out.
Uncle Noel, I'm so proud to be named after you. Our family misses you, and we ask you to please continue watching over us. You'll never be forgotten, Uncle Noel.
This year's focus was on incorporating children into the ceremonies, making sure that this day and those lives are never forgotten.
The number of people killed in a powerful earthquake in Morocco has risen to 2,800. Rescuers are using their bare hands to search for survivors. Friday's quake has been called the country's deadliest in more than 100 years. And 9 years to the day since William Tyrrell vanished from a home on the New South Wales mid-north coast, police say they're committed to finding him. A $1 million reward for information remains on offer. The Where's William group is asking people to light a candle to remember the toddler. Now turning to FIVEAA Sport.
Get 10-year warranty and 10 years capped price servicing on the new Mitsubishi Outlander at Agostino Mitsubishi.
And Tom Wren, it's going to be a big day at the tribunal.
Yeah, it certainly is. A massive test case is what people are calling it, and that's because Collingwood's Braden Maynard will stake his case to clear his name of a rough conduct charge at the AFL tribunal tonight. Eddie Summerfield reports.
Kicks it about 25 out from goal. It's down. Oh, what's happened here? Brayshaw has been planted into.
Maynard. Melbourne star Angus Brayshaw was left concussed after the collision with Braden Maynard, who was attempting to smother. The Magpie charged with rough conduct and sent straight to the tribunal. In the immediate aftermath, Brayshaw's teammate Michael Hibberd thought it was an accident.
Just one of those freak footy accidents.
While football legend Lee Matthews believes it's a nuanced debate for the tribunal tonight.
It was somewhere between accidental and careless.
Maynard is facing at least a 3-week penalty if he's found guilty.
Well, it was a big night for the Sandful, with central midfielder Harry Grant winning the Magarey medal. Grant finished with 27 votes and is only the 7th Bulldog to win the coveted award. Nord's Nick Rokar finished second with 24 votes, while Sturt captain James Battersby was third with 23 votes. Well, Australia will attempt to wrap up the men's one-day series against South Africa when Game 3 takes place tonight. It's been a one-sided tour so far, with the Aussies winning the earlier T20 series 3-0. But fast bowler Josh Hazlewood says it's been an important step ahead of next month's World Cup in India.
It's a great time to build some depth as well. We've still got some injuries here and at home within the quicks. So it's definitely great to have the younger guys here sort of pushing us and getting some match experience.
And that is the FIVEAA Sport.
Now to the traffic.
For your chance to win 100k, visit homelottery.com.au before September 15.
G'day there, at Brown Hill Creek. Look out for a crash on the freeway down track near the Mount Osmond Road overpass. Busy South Road at Tonsley, slow Marion Road at Anzac Highway. Lane closed at Hindmarsh this morning. Park Terrace near 2nd Street, speeds at 40. Cameras, Airport Road, Brooklyn Park and Blacktop Road at Gould Creek. It's $2 Tuesday at OTR. Get a delicious banana bread for only $2. That's too good to pass up. Today only at OTR. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Can't remember when you had your brakes checked? It's been too long. Call 1300 Automasters now.
Sunny and 23 today, warmer tomorrow, 26, 28 on Thursday and sunny on Friday down to 23. At the moment 18. More news as it happens on 5AA.
G'day everyone, Cornsey here. Now, I know a great team and I see one, and the South Australian hydraulic team I rate the highest is BL Shipway. I've known them for a long time. David Shipway's one of the best blokes you'll ever meet. BL Shipway, they've been looking after your hydraulic and pneumatic needs since 1953 with brands like Ryco, Rexroth, Enerpac, Hydac, Oilpath, EasyFit and many more. And if you can't get to them, they'll send a Ryco 24/7 van to you anytime, anywhere. blshipway.com.au, a South Australian team you can count on.
And now, guess who's turning 50 this year? Italia Ceramics has been inspiring South Aussies for 50 years.
Italia Ceramics, what a stunning place. Since 1973, the Vozzo family has been at the forefront of importing and supplying stylish, on-trend floor and wall tiles and natural stone to Adelaide's best builders, interior designers and home renovators.
Their team of experts can help you find the right tiles for your lifestyle and transform your indoor and outdoor spaces.
So if you're looking for inspiration or styling advice, visit the award-winning showroom on Glingburn Road or check out their website, italiaceramics.com.au.
Breakfast on 5AA. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
Jobs, apprenticeships, traineeships and careers. Maxima can help. Learn more today at maxima.com.au.
22 minutes to 9. We're going to talk vaping crackdown shortly. Some of the results of an 8-week blitz revealed yesterday by the state government. Nicola Spurrier and Chris Picton spoke. You'll hear from both of them in just a moment. It is the 12th of September in Australia, which means in the United States, it's the 11th of September, 22 years since the World Trade Centers were attacked.
How many
and
years
destroyed.
did you say?
22.
Wow.
22 years ago now.
Where were you?
I was at Mum and Dad's house. I was at uni during the day, and I came home and spent the whole night on phone I was studying international relations, so it was sort of like the biggest thing that could have ever happened. Watching the world be redefined before your eyes.
I was in Newcastle with a mate of mine called Rowan, a photographer. We're doing this road trip, and we pulled into a hotel, and we were pulling into the hotel, and the picture desk rang Rowan and said, there's been some bizarre accident in New York where a plane has hit one of the Twin Towers. The plane's crashed. And so about 5 minutes later, we got into this hotel, and as we were checking in, this young guy behind the counter said, mate, do you mind, while you're checking in, can you just put the TV on?
Mm.
And there it was, smoke billowing out of it. We checked in, we unpacked our car, and by the time we got up to our room, we had gone to the bottle shop and bought a carton as well. And we went into the room, and the second plane hit.
Mm.
And we were just there going, my God. And we just sat there till 4 o'clock in the morning watching the entire... Because we had nothing to do. We were on this protracted road trip. We had no set agenda, and we stayed up till 4 a.m. My parents were on holidays in Canada, and I remember my sister ringing beside herself.
Mm.
Like, everyone just...
Yeah, wouldn't have known.
The whole world was just like, what is going on?
And you know how important a day it is in the United States, and of course in New York. It's a very sombre day. Lots of reflection and speeches and memories of those that have passed. A less touching tribute came from the betting platform DraftKings in the United States, who put up in the last couple of hours this tasty offer for punters. Never forget, it says on the betting app, bet these New York teams to win tonight on 9/11. The New York Mets to win against Arizona, the Yankees to win against Boston, and the New York Jets to win against Buffalo.
Is this?
This is
this will be the last day of the operation of this betting company, surely.
This is 100% serious. In the last couple of hours, you can imagine how that's gone over in the United States.
Oh my God!
The betting agency has put out a official statement, which is fantastic. We sincerely apologise for the featured parlay that was shared briefly in commemoration of 9/11. We respect the significance of this day for our country, and especially for the families of those who were directly affected.
How many terrorist atrocities are you going to put in your multi?
What a reality bypass. It sort of goes to the dopey bloke culture of a lot of these betting companies, though, doesn't it?
But it also shows how, with the passage of time, important things mean less to people.
Mm.
There's this brilliant Israeli artist who did this installation called Holocaust, where he
I remember that. Yeah,
he got all of these
fantastic.
images of people who had gone to Auschwitz and Belsen and Theresienstadt, all of the sites of the horrors of Nazism, the concentration camps, and people who had posed up on their Instagram accounts in front of the Arbeit macht free sign outside Auschwitz, but doing the Instagram
pouting and duck face.
Yeah, close-ups with makeup on and their hair all done. And then what he did, because some of them they actually took the photographs inside the camps themselves, he overlaid the Instagram pictures with the real pictures after April 1945, when everybody went in and actually worked out the extent of what the Nazis had been doing, with bodies piled up and everything.
Mm.
And then he superimposed the images of the Instagram starlet over a pile of corpses. And all of the people who are on Instagram, some of them tried to sue him and said, this is defamatory. And he said, no, it's not defamatory. You're just an idiot.
Yeah, you did.
You don't know anything about anything.
Yeah, yeah.
So you did it. This is your image. And I'm just putting it in its proper historical context. There's a really powerful, edgy, and excellent thing that guy did.
Doesn't take long for people to forget. 17 to 9. We've got AFL Grand Final tickets to give away. 8223 is the number. This is tough today. 3 songs, 3 artists. You need to name both components. And if you do, you're in the running to win flights, accommodation, and tickets to the AFL Grand Final. We had an attempt earlier in the last hour. It was a failed attempt. So there is a chance for someone to be today's person that goes into the draw. Get calling now, 8223 Here is the music that you need to identify.
And I don't know if I'm just dreaming.
3 songs, 3 artists. Who are they?
If you were listening earlier, the first and last ones were guessed correctly.
Oh, you've been very generous.
I just said that I guessed correctly. I'm
Okay.
not saying anything other than that.
Okay.
Hey, big thanks quickly to everyone who's texted in about today's Breaking 8. I think the consensus among 5AA's excellent listeners is that the impasse over the location of the police horses is a middle-class, NIMBY-led catastrophe, and that you've got a whole bunch of, parklands purists and sectional interests saying, no, we don't want it here, and that the government needs to muscle up and take control of this again.
Neville in Kensington Park is the first caller through. Morning to you, Neville.
G'day, how you going?
What's your level of confidence like, Neville? How are you feeling?
85%.
Okay, that's good. That's pretty confident. Would you like to hear the songs again?
Yeah, thanks.
And I don't know if I'm just dreaming.
All right, it's over to you, Neville. Who do you think they are?
Okay. Angry Anderson, Bound for Glory. Meatloaf, I think it's You Took the Words Right Out of My Mouth. If it is, they should have. And John Paul Young, Love Is in the Air.
Oh, Neville, you know what? It's not a bad effort because you've got 2 out of 3 correct.
As Meatloaf himself said, except in this context, 2 out of 3
is bad.
822
We'll just take another call then.
Want you.
We'll take another caller. 822 So 2 out of the 3 are correct. We're putting someone in the running right here and now to win these tickets. So keep calling.
The second one's hard.
The second one is hard. It's not. I mean, this is a huge prize. It's not going to be easy. Dino, good morning.
Good morning. How are you, boys?
Good, thanks, Dino. All right, Dino, you need to hear it again, or you're ready to rock?
Oh, look, I think I'll give it a crack.
Okay.
So, Angry Anderson, obviously, Bound for Glory. John Paul Young, Love Is in the Air. And Dame Edna Everidge, I Still Call Australia Home.
You are absolutely correct, Dino.
Wow.
Well done.
I had no idea.
Dino is in the running to win AFL Grand Final tickets now on the very short list of people who answer these questions correctly. One a day goes in the running over the course of the next 2 weeks in the lead up to AFL Grand Final day, and then the trip of a lifetime will be someone's. Those correct answers again: Angry Anderson, Bound for Glory from 1991, pretty infamous pre-game entertainment, that one. Dame Edna, 2005, I Still Call Australia Home. Might be the most Australian thing that's ever happened. Dame Edna singing I Still Call Australia Home.
She was nailing it too.
And 1995, John Paul Young, Love Is in the Air. Another chance tomorrow. 3 more songs, 3 more artists. Get them right, and you could be going to the grand final. Time for traffic. Keezer, tired of back pain? Time to try Keezer, KIESER.com.au.
Thanks, Will. Got delays on the freeway near Brown Hill Creek. She's on the freeway down track due to a crash just near the Mount Osman Road overpass where all the speed cameras are. Busy right now, South Road at Tonsley. Slow at Hindmarsh with the lane closed. Park Terrace near 2nd Street. Speeds reduced to 40. And we've got cameras at Goddard Drive, Salisbury Park and Great Terrace at Rosewater. Win over $817 million in today's USA Power Lotto. Get more zeros in your life with Australia's own lotteryoffice.com.au. Hurry, draw closes within the hour. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
You've decided to build? It's exciting stuff. When you've found land, it's a good idea to get advice on what you can build on your new parcel of paradise. Get Steve from Beechwood Homes to take a look. There's no obligation, and you'll get a great understanding of what's possible. Sloping block, flat block, weird shaped block, or block on a cliff. Speak with Steve from Beechwood Homes for all the possibilities. Life's good. It's even better in a Beechwood home. Google Beechwood Adelaide.
1239 South Road, St Mary's. You'll want to remember that address. 1239 South Road, St Mary's. The new showroom of an Adelaide favourite, Bob Burns Blinds. Their gorgeous new showroom has a huge range of blinds, shutters, and curtain materials on display. The team at Bob Burns Blinds can't wait to help you create a stunning new look for your home. It's a must-see. The Bob Burns Blinds new showroom at 1239 South Road, St Mary's. See you there.
Now, the best meals are made by the best chefs, and the best chefs are made by 3 generations of culinary excellence, Will.
Case in point, the excellent Chris Jarmer at Jarmer's Kitchen. Good food is in his blood, and that's why he's one of the most in-demand chefs in South Australia.
Great bloke, great chef. Cooks for the Adelaide Crows, the 36ers, the Australian Olympic swimming team, state business people, politicians, Joe and Paula from Semaphore, Daniel and Sophia from Athelston, and even Michael Bublé.
But he's not just a chef to the stars, he's passionate about food, so he'll cook for anyone and everyone, no matter what the occasion is.
So experience the buzz on everyone's taste buds.
I love this place. Book a table at jarmerskitchen.com.au. Jarmer's Kitchen, fancy made easy.
G'day, it's Baz from FIVEAA Milk Company. Just wanted to make sure you knew that our milk only comes from SA dairy farmers. So make sure the milk you buy is only from SA dairy farms. Because you see, no matter how tough it gets out there, our dairy farmers always put you first. So let's support them. Look for FIVEAA Milk Company products in your supermarket. 3 words make all the difference. FIVEAA Milk Company. South Australian first and proud of it.
Medical research doesn't have to be a bore. Spend 14 nights at CMAX Clinical Research and catch up on your favourite shows. Then attend 1 follow-up visit, and upon completion, participants are paid for their time. Healthy volunteers with no current medical conditions are needed to be part of the discovery of a potential treatment for bone marrow malignancies. Apply today for C06623 at cmax.com.au. That's cmax.com.au.
Breakfast on 5AA. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
If you're living with a disability, injury or health condition and looking for work, visit maxima.com.au.
9 to 9, the Police Minister, Joe Sockarch, has called in. Minister, good morning to you.
Morning, guys. Look, I thought I'd just ring in. I did hear you breaking it. I'm an avid listener most mornings, but I thought I'd just clarify for you and your listeners that everything is proceeding in a really good way with that city staging area. We've been government's been working really, really closely with the Courts Administration Authority, and the most recent advice that I've got as of about half an hour ago is that that staging area will be proceeding. All of those engineering and design works are happening literally as we speak, and we'll be very pleased to be able to have a bit more to say about that really soon.
Is it necessarily? Are you 100% sure that everyone's happy about it happening, though, Minister? Because we've been told, not by some woodchuck, not someone on the periphery, but we've heard solid mail that there's concerns about it, and there's been discussions in the past about upgrading the courts, expanding the courts, replacing old buildings, and so forth. And our advice is that within the Courts Administration Authority, there's a real concern that handing over the land would prevent that from happening down the track.
Yeah, look, I can't speak for the thoughts of every single person that's been involved or that has an interest in this parcel, but I know the Police Commissioner was on your program last week and reflected in the same way that I would, and that is that the future works for a potential courts expansion on the table for government in the future. It's certainly not something that's in my lane as the Minister for Police, but certainly as far as I'm concerned, and that's the immediate work ahead of us, the important delivery part of the city staging area for our ambulance operations, a really important part, a really unique feature as well from a sort of a national operations perspective. But everything is proceeding as planned. The discussions between the government and the Courts Administration Authority are really positive, really engaging. I haven't been involved with that discussion personally with representatives from the Courts Administration Authority, but the senior officials that have been advised me that it's been really strong engagement from both sides.
Okay. Well, that's good to know.
That is good news.
Well, we appreciate you ringing in to clarify that, and we always, take the view that if ever we get mail that turns out to be wrong, we're more than happy to correct the record. So hopefully that is the case. Joe Sockarch, the State Minister for Police there, thank you.
7 minutes to 9. Yesterday, the state government provided an update on an 8-week blitz into the operation of vape stores. We should say overwhelmingly they passed. 12 businesses were fined of 180 that were searched. nearly 5,000 vapes were confiscated, 2,013 of which were from one retailer. The fine is $500 for stocking nicotine vapes and $1,000 for selling e-cigarettes without a licence. Yesterday, the Health Minister and the Chief Medical Officer, Professor Nicholas Spurrier, fronted a press conference. Here's a bit of what they had to say.
There was one vape, so one cartridge, which was equivalent to 3 packets of cigarettes. The longer this goes on with vapes being so readily available, the more young people will become addicted.
We need to have stronger penalties in place than what we have at the moment.
We got this on the Duttons text line, re-vaping in schools. My son's in year 8, friends vape in class while the teacher's turned around. Vapes hidden in sleeves. It's a common practice daily. But girls hide vapes in their tops/bra, and if teachers suspect vaping, pockets are asked to be emptied knowing that if they're in their tops, they're safe.
Oh, that matches what I've heard from parents. So it's epidemic levels.
Well, we did that item a few weeks ago about one of the schools that actually in Port Augusta has locked the toilets. And one of the key reasons is vaping.
Is that right? Unbelievable.
Imagine doing it in the classroom when the teacher's there.
That's just... It creates a big cloud of smoke, doesn't it? Or whatever that moisture residue is.
Oh, the amount of smoke that's generated from them is extraordinary.
Yeah.
You see it billowing out of people's cars.
Yeah.
Crazy.
It's time for Behind Closed Doors, thanks to Aussie Fast Transport Solutions, Interstate Freight Distribution, Warehousing and a local Adelaide couriers. Call Aussie Fast 13 13 64.
And when we get behind closed...
You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
And welcome back to 5AA Breakfast. And David Penberthy, welcome back to you too.
Yeah, g'day, Will. How you going?
I'm really well, David.
Anxious.
John has called in about some Beatles stuff. Morning to you, John.
Howdy, fellas. I've got a piece of Beatles stuff here that I cut out of the advertiser, the 5AD Top 40.
John, did you buy all the Beatles singles? Because in those days, you'd normally, on a 45 record, you'd get 4 songs, wouldn't you? There'd be 2 on each side.
No, what they had was singles had 1 on each side, and then they had an EP extended play which had 2 on each side.
Oh, okay. But a lot of the B-sides were just blues songs. They were just all old covers, the Beatles B-sides.
Is that right, David?
Yeah. Well, apart from P.S. I Love You, that was one of theirs.
Okay, thanks for your call, John.
Oh, and Ask Me Why and Baby You're a Rich Man.
A little bit later on in the program, we'll be...
And Revolution and Rain and Don't Let Me Down.
We'll be looking at this big story that...
and For You, Blue and She's a Woman.
We'll be crossing to Tim Lester in the US.
And Thank You, Girl and This Boy.
Also, the Movie Bowl coming up.
But yeah, apart from those ones, the Beatles' B-sides were all old blues covers.
Yeah, that's interesting, David.
Oh, and I saw Her Standing There, which was the B-side of I Want to Hold Your Hand. So.
Okay, we're...
And I'm Happy Just to Dance with You.
Okay, let's...
And I'll Get You in the End, and I'm Down.
Righto.
And The Inner Light, and Why.
Okay, very good.
And Yes, It Is, and You Can't Do That.
Okay.
And, of course, Nobody's Child.
Righto.
And you know my name, look up the number.
8223 0000.
You know something else, Will?
What's that, David?
I left out Old Brown Shoe.
Yeah, but apart from those ones...
Yeah, exactly. What have the Romans ever done for us? You don't want to get into an argument with Blakey about the Beatles. He knows everything about the Beatles.
It's no good. All right, let's leave with some Fuel Watch information. See where the cheapest fuel is in an instant with the free RAA app. You can download it today. The cheap spots are these. It's kind of been stuck in this range for a little while. The OTO Grand Junction Road, Jeps Cross, $1.82.7. The Ampol Belair Road, Mitcham, $1.85.7. The Ex-Convenience Hamilton Terrace, Newton, $1.85.7. The cheapest diesels is rock solid at $2.02 at the moment. The Ex-Convenience Main North Road's the best. The one at Jeps Cross, $2.02.3. We're out of time. 5AA News is coming up. Matthew Pantelis is on the sick list again this morning, so Graham Goodings is going to be taking over after 9 o'clock. Give him a call on 8223 0000 and we'll catch you tomorrow morning from 6.
Tired of your rent and bills going up and up and up? Pump them down with EcoVantage. It's easy to switch your existing hot water system for an energy-efficient heat pump, even if you're renting. And thanks to federal and state government facilitated subsidies, it could cost as little